How about now? Can y'all hear me now? Can you hear me now? How about now? Can y'all hear me now? Okay. You know what it was? Let me tell y'all. Y'all gonna laugh at me. So this is my first time using StreamYards. So I didn't know that you had to press the avatar and add it to the stream. I thought it was automatically added in because I'm the host. Because I thought it was just like it was with Stream Labs. Was it Streamlabs? And I had to add myself in. That's why y'all couldn't hear me. So the 10-minute delay was my fault. That was my fault. Like I said, this is my first time using it. So this is all brand new to me. So y'all got to forgive me. But with that being said, we got that all figured out. We only lost like what, 10 minutes. So it's not like I'm only streaming live for 10 minutes. So we're going to be here for a little bit. My bad, I was echoing. That's because when I tested it out and it finally worked, it's because I didn't have my the mic on my phone muted, because I'm actually looking on my phone and this at the same time. But salute to everybody in the chat. Hopefully there will be some more arrivals. I know it's probably still early for some people, but make sure y'all go ahead, if you haven't done so already, and share the stream on your various social media platforms and like the stream. I'm trying to get over 100 likes. Remember, when it's over 100 likes, that means that there are more eyes that'll come here. It'll tell the algorithm to pretty much have people come and view this stream. But before I really get into whatever we're going to talk about today, which is going to be quite a bit, I have to give a huge shout out to all of my subscribers, especially those who have been with me since the beginning. I'm talking about back when I had my original Torian Rain channel that I created back in 2016. But truth be told, I actually had that YouTube channel since I was in college. But back in like 2010, I believe, is when I had it. And then I had started uploading different things on my channel that had nothing to pertain to what I talk about right now. It wasn't until 2016 when I really started to get into the swing of things as far as whatever I was going to gear my focus toward as far as YouTube material content. And of course, you know, if you've been with me, my original channel had got terminated in 2017. And that's back when I had like 15,000 plus subscribers. It happened in October of 2017. And it was around that time of that Stephen Paddock mass shooting that happened in Vegas. And it had got terminated around that time. And I had to pretty much start over. Then I had created a new channel. That one got taken down. And truth be told, the channel that you're looking at right now, that one I almost lost this one, because some people over at YouTube at the time, and probably still to this day, don't like me. So it's like probably on one of their little lists or whatever. So that's probably why they felt some type of way. But as a matter of fact, I had to create a whole new channel and put this one on private, basically hide it from YouTube's little stalkers for about a couple months before until those strikes had got removed. And then I brought this one back into to the spotlight. And then the one that I was using as a backup, I hid that one. And for some strange reason, YouTube must have found it somehow, and they terminated that one. So technically, I've been through about 4 channels, and I actually still have a backup channel to this day that has over 1,000 subscribers on it. But that one's currently hidden away somewhere. A lot of people don't know about that channel. It was actually also an interesting one too, because it was one channel that I had to create after one of them had got terminated, and that one reached 1,000 subscribers in a day. I was so shocked when I saw that I've never seen any growth like that before. But that was then and this is now. And here we are 30,000 plus subscribers later. And the truth be told, I should have had way more than this because the tampering with my channel began last year around April or something. Now, mind you, last year around this time, I had 26,000 plus subscribers. Now you got to think, why did it take me so long to get from 26,000 to over 30,000? You're just talking 4,000 subscribers. I should have had way more than that. I probably should have over 50 by now. But they started tampering with my channel. I started losing subscribers, gaining subscribers, and losing even more. Like they were unsubscribing people left and right. I could look and tell that's what they were doing. But how I got over 30,000 subscribers this time, that video that I did called Playtime is Over, and y'all know what video I'm talking about? The one that got like over 100,000 views in like a day or two. That video actually propelled my subscribers and shot them all the way up. Now, of course, at the time, I didn't realize that video was going to go viral. You never upload a video with the intent to go viral. It just does. And then I think something else that helps is that there was a channel, not a channel, but a page on not YouTube, on Facebook that shared that video on their page, and that video got over 1 million views and like 19,000+ shares. And it pretty much redirected them back to my channel. So when that video went viral, I had like 28,000 some subscribers, or maybe 27 or something like that. I probably got over 1,000 subscribers in that week off of that one video. So that video helped out a lot. But like I said, I didn't upload that video with the intent of it going viral. No one really uploads a video with the intent of it going viral unless it's something that really catches people's attention. And that one did. And I actually put it as the front page video on my channel, so whenever you come to it, that's the first video you see. So that's pretty much my little journey to 30K. There's some other stuff that of course happened in between, but I just wanted to give y'all the surface level stuff. But here we are today, and I'm doing my 30K celebration. Now it's crazy because I had the intent of doing the 30K celebration already, because of course I hit 30K before everything that's just recently happened has occurred. And now it's like I have to kind of like, you do the whole celebration type of thing and combine it with some topics that either I've already talked about or things I haven't talked about, but also expound on some things that I can't put into pre-recorded videos because I will be making video after video after video and it would become draining. So I said, let me just go ahead and put everything into this video right here. And if y'all hear some outside noise, or you hear something like sounds like cars passing by, that's because I'm sitting outside right now. It's a nice day, so I said let me just go out and get some fresh air. But that's probably why you hear that. But yeah, it's a whole bunch of stuff going on right now, and I said one or two things. One, is no way I could put all of this stuff in a pre-recorded video because I already have so many as it is going on. And then I said to myself that there's no way that I was going to be able to do this commentary or this stream by myself. So what I decided to do was, at the last minute yesterday, I emailed somebody. Who is another fellow YouTuber, another content creator, and I reached out to them and said, you know, we have not collabed yet on either of our channels, whether it has been on my channel or your channel. And we pretty much have the same viewpoints on a lot of things. And people would go crazy if they found out we was collabing with each other. And they pretty much said, sure, just send them like, you know, the information and they'll set everything up. Well, That person is currently in the back chat right now listening to everything that I'm saying so far. And I pretty much didn't, and I pretty much told them, don't tell anybody. I kind of wanted it to be a surprise. So with that being said, I'm gonna bring them up, and then we're gonna get it popping. What's going on?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, yo, what is up, man? Much love and appreciation. Thank you for having me on. I'm a major fan.
Appreciate it. Same here. Like I said, like I was telling the people, I said this is something that people have been wanting to see for a while now.
It's like, man, yo, I'm proud of you. Because I remember a few times that I was going through a lot of hardships on my channel. You came through, you were like, yo, man, it's, welcome to YouTube. This is what happens. You got a lot of trolls. You got YouTube, working against you. You were saying how you had to recreate, quite a few pages, and you just kept it going. And because of like that initial energy, that's also what helped me, keep going through, a lot of things also. So it's like, I want to, thank you for that. And, thank you for being a part of, the Black media community, and, doing this continuously day in and, day out, no matter, how hard it gets, no matter how bogged down you get, with, emotions and, and other things, going on in life, and, things like that. I just want you to know that I and, the community, we really appreciate you and thank you for doing what it is that you do every day.
Oh, no problem. Before I go any further, let me see these super chat. Shout out to Alana Trotman. Shout out to Black Rage 843. He said, congratulations on your success. And you heard what Lil Wayne said about the George Floyd situation, saying we should blame ourselves for what happened.
Wait, what?
He said, bro must be on the pills again or something. I guess we'll just address that. That's brand new to me. Real said $5. Sent $5. Appreciate you. Solo Dolo, shout out to you. He said, congrats on 30K. Thank you for your proper propaganda. Keep speaking truth to power, and salute brother Seiji Hito. But yeah, I remember when I first got introduced to you, I think one of my subscribers had said, Soren, have you ever heard of this YouTuber by the name of Seiji Hito? I was like, no. And then I was like, okay, let me go ahead and check their channel out. And then when I looked at one of your videos, I'm like, this guy sounds just like me. Not like the same, like, like in the same tone, but like we have the same similar talking points. It was like finally I have somebody on this platform that pretty much really lines up with me, almost eye for eye, like, as far as what we decide to discuss. And it's almost like we can bounce off of each other, because it's like you may talk about something that I can't touch on, and your subscribers, who a lot of us share the same subscribers anyway, they'll probably go and look at whatever it is that you say, and if it's something you don't talk about, they'll come to my channel and everything like that. So I think that helps out a lot. And I kept saying to myself, we need more people out here to talk about what it is that we talk about unapologetically.
That's bars. But like the main thing I try to, also get through to like the community, it's our job to, like, if we have like any type of platform, to, basically, big everybody else up, to make everybody else aware of, other people's content. So that's why, I try to do my best in, a lot of the videos to point, people in your direction, like, just in case if they're new to my platform and they don't know like about your platform yet, to, try to push them over there so they can, get awareness and get to know you and the content that you provide to, everybody else out here. So, that's one thing that hopefully a lot of people will, start doing, when it comes to things like that.
Exactly. But yeah, it's been a lot of stuff that has been going on this week. It just seems like I said this is the powder keg week right here.
Yeah.
I said between, I said 2020 as a whole, and we ain't even halfway through, because the halfway mark ain't until another few days anyway in June. And it seems like you would think with 2020 coming in, it's a new decade. I was like, oh, it's refreshing. We made it to another decade. We started off on the wrong foot. We started off with losing Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and them people in that helicopter crash back in January. And we are thinking that was going to be the worst thing to happen this year. Boy, were we wrong. I mean, really wrong. when it came to that. And then, you know, February was more of a quiet month. It would have been a loud month had we had known about what happened with Ahmaud Arbery ahead of time.
True.
And then March kicks in. And then that's when it pretty much goes all downhill from there with this virus. Whew. And now we have this Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. Like, we have a trinity going on in 1 month. And it's, you know, it's just crazy how all of this stuff is just really going down.
Yeah. Let me see who we got. Ahmaud, Sean Reed, Breonna. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I heard about a sister that was, I think, pushed off of a balcony in Canada.
Yeah, I heard about that. That one is finally starting to make its rounds. I actually heard about that story back when we didn't even know her name. Like, they finally put her name out there maybe yesterday. And I saw the video on Twitter that her cousin was recording, and they said that she was pushed off of the 24th floor by those terrorists. Now they're trying to say that she committed suicide. I don't believe that. And they said that there was no press out there. He was saying in the video they didn't even allow news trucks to come out there. They were trying to really keep this thing hush hush. And then they talked to her mother, and her mother sounded very powerful in her conviction. She said, they killed my daughter, and she was only 29 years old, very pretty woman. And I said that's crazy, but I think it's finally starting to pick up traction. But you know, it's so hard because in Canada they don't get the push like that when it comes to racial attacks like that, like they do in the States. Like, their stuff is very hush hush. It happens, but not to the point where it is like out there.
Right. Hopefully with this story, like, I've seen some documentaries where they've talked about how some of the indigenous people there, how they get treated by the Europeans and how they basically get walked over and, you know, and talked down and things like that. So, you know, hopefully with this, it'll give a major light and a push to that, and maybe more people there will begin to be more open, you know, about these things, so we can start to hear a lot of these stories, so people can be made aware. Because all people really know in America is like, well, you know, Canada's Canada, free healthcare, and they're not either as racist as America or they're not racist at all. And that's not the truth. Well, at least when it comes to, you know, the racism part. So, Lord.
Yeah, when I heard about that, I was like, oh my God. And it's crazy because at the time when I recorded the video, and you can tell when I recorded it, it was only one article that was written up about the incident, but it left so much stuff out. And there's more stories out about it now, because now people are starting to pick it up. And I think they said they're finally starting to do protests up there and everything like that. But I think it's because this is happening in Canada and everything that's happening here in the States, and it's all happening and jumbled up at one time. You got Ahmaud Arbery, and you know what's going on with that. Breonna Taylor's coming into the fold, even though that happened back in March. You had the Sean Reed situation. Now you have the George Floyd. This is the powder keg one right here. This is the one that's really, really, really taking hold right here. And now you have this one that kind of crept in as well, and that's all the way in Canada. Yeah. So it's just a lot going on. It's too much.
It is. Like, and I'm trying to figure out like how to even put a lot of this in words, because it gets to a point where I would say, as a content creator, it's difficult to put out a message, because you start to get emotionally involved, you know, with these stories after you start to see, you know, a lot of the video footage day in and day out, or, you know, sometimes, you know, you may get in contact with some of the family members, you know, and different things like that. And it really starts to get to you. And it's like, you get to a point where you're making a content. It's like, you just want to say so much, but then you have to like guard it, because if you say something, you might have people react to it, and that's not initially what you want people to react to, or at least, you know, like in that way. So it's like, man, man, let me tell you,
Yeah, I remember I've had family members reach out to me from stories that I have done in the past. I had one woman who I actually, for a family member, for a story I did, who I actually spoke with on the phone one time.
Wow.
And I said that was, that was a surreal experience right there. I said I felt like a real journalist that day.
Oh yeah.
And she was like giving me some stuff that mainstream media wasn't putting out there. I said I felt real exclusive that day.
Oh man.
But yeah. What to touch on first? Because it's like I said, it's quite a bit of stuff to touch on. I don't know if I want to. I might touch on this one just a little bit since it's not going to stay long because this is a incident that happened before the whole George Floyd thing took off, and I know that people really, really want to hear our take about that, even though we've already talked about that. But since we're both here, right here at the same time, why not? But did you hear about the whole Doja Cat situation?
Let me correct me if I'm wrong. Now, I seen a little bit of it. I think she was in some type of supposed like group chat with like white supremacists or whatnot, and she was in a sense like egging them on to do the things that she was doing or different things like that. And then she tried to come back with an apology to the black community.
Right. Because I follow this YouTuber by the name of Lovely T. I don't know if you're familiar with her, and she did she does like a lot of celebrity news and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But she did a full hour breakdown of that whole situation. And let me tell you, I never followed Doja Cat. I've heard of her, but I've never followed her. I can even name one of her songs, let alone a lyric.
Yes,
so I don't know her and everything like that, but I've seen her pictures. She kind of reminds me of when I first saw her. She looked like an actress. I forgot the actress's name, but that's who I thought it was, but it was two different people. But that chick right there suffers heavily from the tragic mulatto syndrome. Yeah. I said, she reminds me so much of the daughter. Have you ever seen that movie Imitation of Life?
No, wait, it's been a minute. I think it's been a minute.
Okay. Yeah, well, basically that daughter in the movie, she was like a biracial girl who hated her black side, and she swore up and down that she was white because she passed for it. You should watch this. It's a really good movie. It's an old movie. It came out like in I want to say like the late 50s. But she reminds me of her. And the woman, this chick was just off the chain. Like how, like the stuff that she was talking about with her hair, and saying that she really didn't like having, was it 4C hair, and people were saying, well, you look good with your natural hair, and she didn't even like it when those white guys were like trying to compliment her, but I think they were trying to compliment her on many various other things. And But what's so crazy is all of her little stands, that's basically what they are, were trying to run, defense for her, trying to say, oh, we need to back up off for her and everything like that. I gave it as much energy as I possibly could and left it alone. That's why I didn't make a video about it, and I'm talking about it now, because after the day, I'm not talking about it no more.
Now, let me. The only research that I've done is I think somebody linked a song, and basically it was like, black men ain't shit. And so I sat up there, I listened to the whole song, but I'm like, to my knowledge, your mom is white, white American, whatever, Caucasian, and your dad is South African. Yep. So I'm like, so how come you're saying, in a sense, black men, but you're not gearing that towards South African men, which is exactly what your father is?
Right.
Like, how are you getting down on us when we have no parts in how you got here?
Exactly, because we're the default. Like, when it comes to how they feel about black men, it could be a black man from across the pond, but the default setting is to go after us because that's what society has groomed them to do. A shout out to Beautiful Cacophony. I'm probably messed up your name, but appreciate you.
Like, and then the other thing that I bring up to people is that women, like I said before, I love all black women, have no issues. Now, that aside, when it comes to black women who suffer from like self-hatred, when they suffer from, you know, being in, you know, a multitude of relationships and being jaded and different things like that. I sit up there and tell people like, yo, people have to take self-responsibility and accountability for a lot of the things that they allow to happen in their life. If you're a woman and you say that you want a good black man, but then above that, you're like, niggas ain't shit, black men ain't shit, they're poor fathers, poor providers, this, that, and the third. The universe isn't going to sit up there and hear that, oh, I want a good black man. The universe is going to hear all of that negative stuff that you just threw out there about black men, and you're going to get exactly what you receive. But it's like a lot of the women out here don't want to take accountability or responsibility for what it is that they put out. And it's like, that's not how that works.
Exactly. And it's like she literally took the worst parts of her on both sides of her, and she on the black side, she took the worst parts as far as basically being a coon, and on her white side, she took the parts of her being a white supremacist. Combine those things together, put it into a cannon launcher, and catapulted it out into the universe. I said that's a talent that I've never seen before, and I don't even know if I want to call it a talent.
Right. And then on top of that, we got these young girls out here who are following her, and they're going to follow her exact same mentality, which is like, I'm just put it like that, toxic femininity, and that's going to breed you know, a whole other thing. But then on top of that, those same young women are chances are going to raise like young kids. So if they have a daughter, that daughter's going to have that mindset. But then if they have a son, all of those things that they're saying about black men and that they believe in black men, that's going to, in a sense, go back to your son, and then that's going to make him not like you or like the representation of you. So therefore, now your son doesn't like black women because of the things that he heard from the one black woman out of all black women that's supposed to love and take care of him. And he's hearing all of this negativity. So now he's going to be like, well, my mom doesn't love me, and I already know that other black woman doesn't love me. Now what?
Exactly. Salute Mark Stewie said, congratulations, Torian. Thank you. But yeah. But that's all I really want to talk about. I didn't want to spend too much time on that.
I got you.
I didn't want to spend too much time on that one. So I guess we can just go ahead and get into why people are really here, because I already know what people want to hear us talk about. And that's the George Floyd situation. This is going to be an ongoing saga. I told people this is going to be a long, hot summer.
Yeah.
Minneapolis is on fire right now. It's a blazing inferno right now.
You heard about the other states though, right?
Oh yeah, I heard what's going on in LA, New York, and I heard in Louisville they actually are protesting for Breonna Taylor.
Wow.
So it's gonna be a long, hot summer.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the one right here. I think this is the one.
Yeah.
We keep saying, okay, which one is it going to be? Which one is it going to be? I think this is the one right here because of the optics. Shout out to Sean from the Shy. She said, go get that drink. So proud of you. But yeah, I think this is the one right here. I think this is the straw that broke the camel's back for real. Yeah. Because I think with how we were able to see this in real time on that video, and just how it all played out and how it's still continuing to play out, it's just like people are not going to let this one go. They're not going to let this go. And then you got to take into consideration, we've been in quarantine for the last 2.5 months, and it's getting hot outside. People needed a reason to go outside. Yep. And here it is.
100%.
I said that this morning. I said people needed a reason to go outside, and now they have one.
Mm-hmm.
But the latest I've heard, and you may have heard it too, is that they have arrested the main terrorist, Derek Chauvin, and they only charged him so far with 3rd-degree murder or manslaughter, something like that. I said that's the same thing they gave Muhammad Noor.
Wait, hold on, wait. So what about the other 3 officers?
I don't know what's to come of the other 3 right now, because the only one I've heard so far about is him.
The Asian guy.
Need to get them too. Yeah, because they definitely played a part. Shout out to JK. He says, "Damn, first Lisa and True Royal early, and now Torian and Seiji. Appreciate both you guys. Work B1. Thank you." But yeah, I don't know what's to come of the other three off the other. I don't want to call them officers. They're not the other three terrorists.
Yeah.
Because they said that when he was being held down on the other side of the truck, it was two other guys there that was holding him down. He was already handcuffed. Where was he going to go?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the Asian cop right there who was basically playing guard watch and making sure nobody got too close.
He tried to set up there and assault one of the brothers that was there when he got close. Then the Asian dude started barking like a dog, like back up, back up.
You could just look at his stature and tell he had a Napoleon complex.
Yep.
That guy looks short.
Yep.
He looks short just based on how the camera angles was set up. Like, yeah. But they said they got him on so far, they said there's going to be additional charges. Now, they said, now this is what I heard, and I believe this to be true. They said the reason why all that stuff happened last night, like the burning of the precinct and everything, is because I forgot who it was. I think it was like the attorney general or the district attorney. It was one of those two guys came out and said they weren't sure if they were going to charge him with anything because they needed more evidence. I said, what more evidence did you need? We all saw the same videos because it was more than one.
Mm-hmm. And then the funny part is the main thing I tried to get through to a lot of people in the community, because of course we have trolls that like to come to our YouTube channels. So I had put out one video, and at the very end it stated that in Canada they had protesters that were there, looked like your average typical white men, and they were out there with rocks and different things like that, causing chaos and noise. But after they were tackled, somebody took a picture of all of the footwear of the cops and the protesters, and the protesters were wearing the exact same footwear as the cops. And that's the main thing that I try to tell people. I'm like, yo, these out of all, like Ferguson, no police precinct was set on fire. So you mean to tell me now, when this happened, instead of Ferguson, magically somebody was like, you know what? I'm going to set the police station on fire. New York, where we had another killing set up there and happened earlier, I think like some last year or whatnot, nobody set fire a precinct. Like all of this is done by cops. I don't care if they're black, white, or Asian. They're all one and the same. It was done by that, that left hand of white supremacy or fragility, whatever people want to call it. Like it's not us doing this. You might catch 1 to 2 people out there doing some stuff that are black, but people got to understand the population in Minnesota is, I think it should be, if I'm correct, 86% Caucasian, and it's like 6.8% black. So we don't really have that many numbers to be tearing up a whole state.
Exactly. Yeah, they send those people down there. As a matter of fact, it was a video that you did yesterday about the one of the agitators who was wearing all black, and he got confronted by the black guy carrying the pizza box. They
the umbrella.
With the umbrella. Yeah, with the umbrella. Yeah, they found out who he was, and they exposed him. As a matter of fact, I'm about to share my screen right now. Listen, to those in the chat, I have been between the Savoy Show Instagram page and Tariq page for the last couple of days, getting a lot of these different videos. So let me see if I can share my screen right quick.
Yes, like, oh my goodness, man. Because I promise you, because the way the media works, they always like to show us, like whenever we're like the loudest or whenever we have some type of movement, they want to always make sure to show us. But if they want to show a peaceful protest, they'll make sure to show some white faces. But then if you have somebody white joining in with, some other stuff, they'll make sure to zoom out the camera.
Oh, yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how some of this stuff is working too myself.
Yeah, right. Like I said, this is all new to me. I think I might have figured it out though. Hold on.
Because I think with this, it's a little bit easier. Like,
Oh shoot, I think I lost him. Hey Sage, if you got the link, come back in. Because I think I lost you when I shared the screen and it knocked you off. I think it knocked him off the stream when I tried to share the screen. Okay, he's back. All right, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I think it went out on me.
Oh, okay, because I was like, I hope it wasn't nothing I did.
Oh no, I was looking at the screen. I was like, that's him. I'm like, wow.
Oh, okay, let me see if I can find it again because it's an interesting story behind this. Like when you find out who outed him or who put him out there, that's the funniest part of the whole thing. That's why I said I couldn't wait to share this with y'all. So let me try this again.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so the person y'all see on your screen, his name is Jacob Peterson. If y'all watch Sage's video he did yesterday, he talked about this guy. So Sage, this guy should look very familiar to you because he has the all black on, he has the same kind of mask, and he's holding the hammer. This guy was going around knocking out windows at an AutoZone, and he got caught by a black guy, and he confronted him. The guy, the funniest part was the guy said when he told him he wanted to square up with him, he said, "Okay, bet, hold my blunt."
Mm-hmm. He was ready.
I said, that's just something we would do. And he was ready to square up with him, but the guy didn't want that smoke, and he kept walking away. The funniest part about this whole thing is the person who outed him. The person who outed this guy was his ex-wife.
Wow.
His ex-wife outed him, exposed him.
Wow.
When I found that out, I was like, oh, really? This just got interesting.
So what made her expose him?
I don't know. I'm guessing the marriage must have ended on bad terms.
Oh, man.
Because she didn't stay on cold for nothing. She said, oh, that's my ex-husband. She said, I know who that is. That's my ex-husband. And she was the one that put the picture that's on the left. She put that out there. Because we know we couldn't really tell what he looked like with his face. And I think it was also some text messages too that went along with it. Let me see if I can pull that up. Okay, look, if y'all can see that these are some text messages that he was exchanging with somebody else, I guess getting in preparation for this. You see?
You got all the evidence out here. It's over for you now.
Right. His ex-wife exposed him.
Damn.
I thought that was so funny.
Yo, that's beautiful. I love it. We need more of that to happen. We need if you're brave enough to do stuff like that or be racist, please out these people. If you know, please out them.
I thought that was hilarious. Like his day was probably ruined after that. But the reason why I pulled that up and said that, and you've actually touched on it before, is because a lot of these people, a lot of black people, unfortunately, think that when it comes to the word looting, that it's only us that's doing it. Not realizing that you have these undercover agents going down there or being sent down there to start and do stuff like this guy did, and no one thinks twice because they don't think that white people are going to do it. I said, I beg to differ. Y'all must have missed the videos when we saw them climbing and crawling out of Targets and stuff.
Yep.
I saw a video. Y'all gonna crack up at this. I should pull it up because it was so funny. I saw a video where they looted a Planet Fitness, and somebody took hold on. I'm about to share the screen again so y'all can see the video. Watch this. Wait a minute.
That sounds about white. Going to loot a Planet.
They looted a Planet Fitness. Watch this. Look at this guy on the treadmill of a looted Planet Fitness. He like, I've been in quarantine for too long. I'm gonna come and get this quick cardio in.
That's crazy.
Wow. Shout out to Zelda Williams. Says, congratulations on your 30K success. Thank you for keeping it black first, black media. Thank you. When I saw that, I said, wow. And that was a white guy on that treadmill, had his mask on and everything. They just finished knocking out the windows and spray painting all over the building. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna take this time to get on this elliptical and get this little cardio in. And he didn't care if anybody was watching.
Yeah. And I promise you, if the police came up like, sir, we just need you to, exit out. We're going to, block off the whole area. We understand you have to get your exercise, but, it's time for you to go. Versus if it was somebody black, everybody would get hauled off.
And it's crazy because even the guy that came in who had the camera in his hand behind him, if you saw him to take a picture of him, was a white guy. He's like, I got to take a picture of this for the gram because ain't nobody going to believe this.
Oh, man.
I'm telling y'all, that's why I be on various social media accounts, because we be seeing all types of videos that mainstream media is not gonna put out there, like the one y'all just saw, or the one about the guy Jacob Peterson. You're not gonna see them put that out there. That's why social media is like dethroning mainstream media in a huge way, because they can get stuff fast, and they can get stuff out there that because they're not bound by contract. A lot of the people who are on social media who do the type of stuff we do, we will be considered freelance journalists, meaning we're not attached to a contract, which means we pretty much have free reign to say what we want.
Right.
But still keep it as accurate as possible.
Correct.
Now, speaking of, and you talked about this one, and I'm sure those in the chat heard about this. Speaking of Target, let's talk about that heifer in the wheelchair.
Man.
Oh,
30 going on 70.
I said 30. I said, nah, there's no way she could be nobody's 30. But then again, with how they age, it's very possible.
Oh, man, that wig was, I don't know what that was, man. And I think I forgot to add it in there. There's video, maybe you might have seen it. There's video out there showing her walking out of the wheelchair, going out to try to attack people, and then walking back into the wheelchair. And I'm and white people, y'all always think that we're trying to financially rob America by being on government assistance. Y'all take up 70+% of this by doing shit like this. Right. Y'all sit up there, be faking injuries, slipping and falling in a Walmart or an IKEA or different things like this, because y'all realistically don't want to work, because realistically that's how you're used to doing things. You're used to having your slaves, used to having people do work for you, and you just sit around and lounge and drink lemonade and shit. So oh, bruh.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I actually found the video in which that happened in. Let me see.
Had the nerve to have a knife trying to stab up people, man. Oh, wow.
Now see how she tried to stab the black person right there, but that white lady walked right smooth past her?
Yeah.
And then they came with the 5 finger.
Where that fake blood come from? What is that? Right. It's the one part I didn't add in there, they're gonna mainstream media, what they're gonna do is
here she's walking out of her chair with the knife, and then she goes back to sit in the chair.
Let me see this.
Now what were you saying?
No, oh, it's delayed. Okay, yeah, that's the clip right there. It's delayed on my end. My bad. I'm trying to. Okay. Yeah. Look at that. Mainstream media, if they catch on to that, the only part that they're going to clip to is the fact that she got hit by a black woman. But they're not going to.
Yeah, I know what clip you're talking about, when she had kind of hit her from behind or something like that. Yeah, they're gonna loop that clip, and they're gonna make sure to show that over and over and over again to make it seem like we are these savages that went up and attacked this woman. No, she tried to stab people, and specifically black people, because the white chick walked right past her and did not do anything to her.
Exactly.
Now, when you uploaded your video, the part that had me cracking up was when you kept looping the part when she kept running into the wall.
Oh man.
I had to stop the video right quick because I would have been laughing so hard I couldn't hear what she was saying. I'm like, you wrong for putting that in there. That's something I would do. Loop the part where she kept running into the wall, like when Oprah had fell on the stage, and I looped that part over.
Yo, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. I'm like, yo, you got to do that to those high IQs out there. I'm like, I guess that's what high IQ looks like right there. Running to walls.
Yeah, like that part was funny though. I had to get a good laugh out of that one. But yeah, she out there. I'm like, first off, if you are, well, we know that you don't need a wheelchair. We saw that. But let's just hypothetically say you did need a wheelchair. Who in their right mind, who is disabled in a wheelchair, will go down into such a hostile environment with people who can function on both legs?
Thank you. Thank you. Like that's what I'm sitting up here saying, but yet, yo, people want to believe the other narrative. Oh no, she didn't have a knife. She had glasses, in her hand, and these black savages just came up who were looting. They just wanted to sit up there and get away, and they wanted to attack her.
Right.
Get the out of here. Oh, yo. Now, another thing, I'm not sure if you've seen it. Did you see the clip of I think it should have been ABC News when they were talking about Floyd?
Probably not.
So last night I was on YouTube and I saw the clip that they played talking about what took place. Mm-hmm. This is why I tell people, like, yo, pay very close attention to whatever the media decides to feed you and give you, because they will decide to switch the narrative at any moment. Mm-hmm. Yo, I swear to you, if you go and look at that clip, they made sure to cut every single angle possible of the main two officers who were there. The only thing that you can see is from the chest down. The officer that was directly the white supremacist that was on Floyd's neck. Mm-hmm. They made sure to cut out his face, every single angle. The Asian cop, they made sure to cut out his face, every single angle. Out of a 10-minute video, ABC literally showed, I want to say, probably less than about 50 or so seconds of that whole video when they were going over everything that took place. And I'm like, see, this is the shit I'm talking about right here. That is what white supremacy looks like. That is what this system looks like, where they are using their power to shield the cops who are the ones that murdered, who killed this man live on camera. And you're doing whatever you can to sit up there and protect their identity. For what?
Exactly. And I said their doing will be their greatest undoing. That's why I said when that DA or the GA or whoever that was that made that statement saying they needed more evidence, that's what prompted people to go and burn that precinct. And now is even being reported by people that they don't even think it was just like a regular citizen that burned that precinct. They think it was a cop. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Shout out to Solo Dolo. He said that's why Black First Media is the only media that matters to me.
Yo, Solo.
But they said that they believe that it was probably a cop that set that building on fire. I wouldn't be surprised. Look at what we just discovered about the guy Jacob Peterson. He's a cop, and he went around with a hammer knocking out the windows to an AutoZone while nobody was paying attention to it, and he just did it anyway, because what they do is they link the word looter and rioter to us as if we the only people that do it. Yep. Meanwhile, you have white people who went up in the face of these individuals at the Capitol building in Lansing, Michigan a month ago, just so they could go outside. Not for any real reason, just to go outside.
I need paint from Lowe's, or I need my haircut.
Right. But that segues into this part right here. Did you hear what your president tweeted earlier?
Oh, yo. The last part that got me, I'm used to the whole like thug thing. I already get that part. It was like as soon, I think he said, correct me if I'm wrong, it was like as soon as the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Yeah, as soon as the looting starts, the shooting starts.
I'm like, oh, look at this.
I said that's a far cry from there's good people on both sides. Remember, he said that in Charlottesville like 3 years ago.
Good people on both sides.
And then it's also a far cry from what he said about the people in Lansing a month ago when he said they're good people or they're doing a good thing or something like that. But they said that Twitter flagged the tweet, but they didn't delete it. They just flagged it. And they said that the White House Twitter account retweeted it onto their page, which he probably made them do it.
I'm not even sure what's even going on there. That's just I'm like, what?
I said, so basically what you're telling me is you're telling the U.S. military or the National Guard to go out there and commit, I guess you could say, a civil war against its citizens. I said that would not be the first time. Look at what happened with Black Wall Street.
Yep.
And speaking of, the 99-year anniversary is this weekend.
Wow.
Just in case y'all didn't know. And also, don't forget, Move back in 1985, they dropped a duffel bag filled with C4 on a residential neighborhood.
Wow.
Now, that's something they won't put in those history books. In 1985, that was not long ago.
Jesus.
That wasn't even 40 years ago.
Wow.
But hey, 9/11.
Yep.
Never forget.
Yep. And I keep telling people that was white people too. It's like, I don't care what nobody say. You're not gonna have like a whole bunch of dudes from out of a cave, magically experts in flying, hijacking airplanes. We got the top defense in the world, and you mean to tell me that these dudes from a cave outsmarted everybody in the U.S., went past the billion and $1 trillion defense? All right.
Exactly.
The main liars out here. We don't gotta. Wait, my bad. What's that?
And I think they put all the entire precinct out at Derek Chauvin's house to give him protection, and they left their precinct wide open for attack. Mm-hmm. That's why it burnt down, because nobody was there. They said we got to go. I said, y'all let this civil unrest, quote unquote, happen to protect 4 terrorists. Y'all let your city go under siege, quote unquote, for 4 demons.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't tell you the idiocy of white supremacy, I don't know what is. I said, do you know the millions of dollars the taxpayers are going to have to pay at the end of the year behind this? Because you know they ain't going to pay for it. It's coming out of our pocket.
Yep.
That's millions of dollars in damages that we're going to have to pay for because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
100%. 100%.
And there's always been talks that the police departments operate like a gang. I wholeheartedly agree.
Oh yeah,
1,000%.
Man, you seen them? Now I know you've done like quite a few videos. Have you noticed that in the, I want to say like the recent decade, or maybe it might have been a little bit before, that you have an influx in a lot of these cops with like neck tattoos, with like arm tattoos, and like that's something like that's their little how they recognize like everybody's gang, just like the normal gangs you see in the street. It's the exact same thing. Exactly. And it's like, and people don't look at it that way. They're like, oh no, the government will never do anything to like hurt us, or the police are here to sit up there and protect us. Protect who? It ain't black people. So if you're black and you believe the police are out here to protect you, you a damn fool. They ain't out here doing nothing but protecting the best interest, which is the government. They don't even care about the white people. Because I told white people that too. It was like, oh, well, you guys are always talking about, they started playing the white tear shit. Like, oh, you guys are always talking about it's only happening to you. It happens to all of us. We're all one. Bullshit. This shit has been happening since they got off of the slave plantation and didn't have a job. And black people were basically rolled out and about to take all the jobs. They're like, you know what? We got to sit up there and do something. We got to create some laws. we got to get a hand on this. So we're going to sit up there and turn you from the slave patrol to cops. And then you're free to sit up there and do whatever you want with the Negroes. And like, that's what that is. Like,
But yeah. Like I said, they are basically an organized gang. Shout out to Tonda for y'all. She said they just charged the cop with third-degree murder and manslaughter. Yeah, we mentioned that third-degree murder and manslaughter. That's clearly not enough because, like I said, that's what they got Muhammad Noor on a few years ago. You remember him, right?
Yep, white girl rode up to his car. She supposedly was the one that called the cops, but for whatever reason, at nighttime, she rode up to the cop's car. He got scared and shot. I would have did the same thing.
Right. He was more justified for what he did than what these terrorists did to George Floyd by far. Now get this. Muhammad Noor got charged with third-degree manslaughter. He got sentenced to 15 years in prison. Amber Geiger got charged and convicted of what, second-degree murder, and got 10 years.
Probably less, probably even less because of good behavior.
I said, make it make sense. Then you had, and I talk about this story on my channel a lot, with the Jeremy Martis case back in Louisiana a few years ago, where you had this white guy and his son, who was like 6 or 7 at the time, who he led them on a high-speed chase, and these two cops, and both the cops were black, went after him, and they pulled him over, and when they were trying to get him out of the car, the guy used his car as a weapon and tried to back up into the guy, so he shot into the window to stop the guy. He didn't know that the man's son was in the front seat of the car, and he shot through the headrest and shot him in the back of the head. And I think the boy was autistic as well, and he killed him. The 2 black cops end up going to jail, and nothing happened to the dad.
But whoa, hold on. There's a I'm trying to remember the story. It was a story. I think you might have seen it also. It was a black woman. Her boyfriend, I think, like used the car or so. I forgot how it was. Basically, it was a vehicle that they used, and she was there, and the kids are also in the back of the truck, unbeknownst to the cops. And in order to get to the boyfriend, they started basically shooting up the truck. And I think, I'm not sure. I would have to go back and check because it's been a minute. I want to say I think one or two of the kids ended up being injured, but it's like nothing happened to those cops. It's like you fired on civilians just to get to like one person. You didn't want to sit up there and try to smoke grenade, or you didn't want to something like a concussion, like anything else versus sitting up there shooting. But at the end of the day, this is what they do. They're used to destruction. They're used to killing. They're used to taking lives because they don't know how to do anything else.
And that's how they were coming into it. It's not like they were groomed to be that way in the department. They came in that way. And all it did was when they threw on that uniform and that badge, got the gun, the handcuffs, and the taser, and all of that stuff, that enhanced their, I guess you can say, their abilities.
100%. That's why a lot of them try to say that they identify with the Punisher. But I'm like, how do you identify with the Punisher when he's a anti-hero? He's against the cops.
I was going to mention that. You brought it up.
Like, yo, oh man, the psychology.
They like it because and they basically told themselves when they did that, because basically, like you said, he's an anti-hero, but he's a vigilante. And that's basically what many of them go out here doing, is they feel like they're doing vigilante work. I'm like, there's a field for that, but it's not law enforcement.
Right.
And speaking of that, this is something else I wanted to bring up. This is something that recently came out. Did you hear that the terrorists that killed George Floyd and George Floyd actually worked together as security guards at a bar years ago?
Wait,
so
what?
I'm led to believe that they probably knew each other. You said you haven't heard about that?
No.
Yeah,
wow.
that just came out. They worked at some kind of a bar for and someone said they worked there together for 17 years. So they had to have known each other or had to have some kind of run-in with each other at one time or something.
Wow.
And I said, now that puts a lot more into perspective. Like, now they're going to make it seem like, okay, he knew him. That's something they can use. Sort of like with the whole Kenneth Walker situation with Breonna Taylor. They said that, and this is why I believe with that Brett Hankinson guy, the one who was one of the ones who shot at her and killed her, they said that years ago, like he had a run-in with him because I think it was some woman at the bar that Brett Hankinson was entertaining. Mm-hmm. But then she started entertaining Kenneth Walker, and apparently he got upset. And then from then on, it seemed like Brett Hankinson had an issue or an axe to grind with Kenneth Walker. Like he was arresting him for various different things for charges that never stuck. So it seemed like every time he had a run-in with him, he would always start something with him just to place him in handcuffs.
Wow.
And that day that he went over there to, do that no-knock warrant, that was him trying to, I guess, tie up a loose end. That was the day he said, you know what? I think I'm going to go and kill Kenneth Walker this day. And anyone else who happens to be there. He wasn't successful killing Kenneth Walker. Unfortunately, he was successful killing his girlfriend. Shout out to Black Rage for the super chat.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of these terrorists, when you see that they mess with a lot of Black people over time, over and over again, or they keep getting into these situations, I keep thinking that they're being targeted. Shout out to the very tall man Brown. Same thing with Ahmaud Arbery. Remember that video they got him when they arrested him when he was in the park a few years ago? Then they said that he robbed some store and took a TV. Like, how he gonna run out there with this big box, this big TV? He would be the most noticeable person there, and it was in broad daylight. And there was no TV. What did he do? Stick it into his pants?
Right.
Shrink it down and put it into his pocket?
Ant-Man.
Right, like Ant-Man.
Like, it's any like, it's so much. Like, I'm just trying to get like my mind like straight, because it's like, the main thing that people should take away from any of the content that you see from either Terrain, me, or a lot of the other Black media groups, go out there and get your license. Go out there and get training, because obviously it is hunting season, and the only thing they hunt is Black people.
Exactly, and we have been their prey for years.
Yep.
It's like, it's so crazy. If I had to use a comic book reference, when it comes to us and them, it's like a Batman Joker relationship.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. 100%, because we all know Batman has a unique obsession with the Joker, and basically without the Joker being there, you're in a sense not going to have Batman.
Right. Like
that existence is completely gone. And then like technically, realistically, we can survive without white people. We've done it before. we don't need their help to do anything. So yeah, it's just them. It's just them.
And speaking of someone who probably pissed some people off this week, was and myself included, I couldn't believe when I heard it, was George Floyd's fiance.
Oh shit. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I shouldn't be surprised though, considering. But I said to myself, when I first heard that and saw that a couple of days ago, I said, where in the hell did she come from?
Yeah.
It's like they just dug her up to throw interference because, the family, they pretty much said that they want justice for their loved one. And I think his brother came out and said he wants the death penalty. I said, that's right. We 2 for 2 now, because that's what Ahmaud Arbery's mother said. She wants the death penalty for those scumbags that killed her son. And he said he wants the same thing for them. And then you have this chick whose name is Courtney Ross, came out of nowhere and just did the whole typical white woman tears. She looks like a meth head. I'm gonna stand by that, because she does. She doesn't look all the way there. And then just said what she said.
See, now this is my thing here. I'm not sure where in the blue hell she came from, because when I went onto this brother's page, because if you type in his name on Facebook, it'll bring you up to his page. And I think the last time I want to say it was updated was maybe like 2016, 2017. And it was no pictures of like any women on there. The only woman that I know that in a sense has active pictures like of him is the Black woman that I showed like in that video. And I got those directly from her Facebook profile, because she was like one of the main people. She was saying, they took my baby away from me and different things like that. So I'm just trying to figure out, where did
Oh, I
this
think I
white
know
woman
which
come
picture you're
from?
talking about because I saw that circulating on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a black woman and she was giving him a kiss on the cheek.
Yep.
Okay.
She got
And
other
they
pictures
said
with
that was
him.
his girlfriend. So I'm like, okay, I saw that picture too. And I'm like, okay, somebody out here is lying.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said I'm gonna need a statement from the person who was in that picture with him.
Yep.
Or a statement from the family to confirm or deny. Who is this Courtney Ross chick? Who is she?
Mm-hmm. How long ago was that relationship? Because it, like you said before, it seems like they're throwing interference because everybody, in a sense, want real justice. They want the death penalty and different things like that to happen. But then this magical white woman
Right.
appears, and she's like, he was a nice person. He was a gentle giant. This isn't what he would want or different. I'm like, who the fuck you speaking for? You ain't
Right.
black. This dude, like, you're talking about, you're his supposed fiance, even though I don't see no ring and shit. But this is what you're saying. And you're saying that the guy that was supposedly going to get married to you, and I'm going to put supposedly in air quotation marks, you're saying that you, in a sense, don't want anything negative or bad to happen to the cops that killed him on camera for 10 minutes by taking away his air and the circulation to his brain. Really?
Exactly. Good point. Good catch. Like, if that's your fiance, you, out of all people outside of his immediate family, should definitely want to see something happen to the people who did this to him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, her statement almost sounded like it would come from someone that was connected to or married to one of the terrorists that killed him.
Yep.
Not the other way around. So I'm still side-eyeing this chick until I get some concrete proof that she is who she claims to be.
Yep.
And like someone said in the chat, he was calling for his mother in his last breath, not you.
Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, I read in I think it was a tweet or another post, somebody said, I think his mom had died, I think a year or so prior. And it was like, that was the last person he called for that is no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah, because they were saying like when he was kneeling like on his neck and everything like that, he was shifting his weight. So to add more pressure. And when I was looking at the pictures, they said he was bleeding out of his nose. He was starting to foam at the mouth. He like they said that he like, I guess you can say he started to urinate.
Yeah.
And all types of things, like he couldn't control it. So yeah. Modern day lynching. Shout out to Tonda Fayashi said, did you notice the cops tripped George Floyd? That's why his nose was bleeding. I didn't see that.
That must have been when they were walking him across the street, because the original video contradicts any of the statements that they said, like, oh, he was basically unruly, he was resisting arrest. You look at that video, this dude was as calm as can be. They said he was on some type of narcotics or whatnot, so this is the reason that he was resisting. We didn't see that on video. Magically, when it goes off camera,
he had any drugs in the system.
Exactly. Well, up until like they do something with his body in the coroner's office, where they'll sit up there and like fudge up the blood results and whatnot. It's like, I don't even trust that right there, because we already have too many incidences of when a lot of our people go to their coroner or whatnot, magically organs, brain, tongue, eyes, intestines, heart, magically all that stuff start disappearing. So if we got stuff like that disappearing, you can only imagine what they'll do with quote unquote like the blood or different test results.
Exactly. Yeah, like something. Yeah, whew, like I said, it's gonna be a long hot summer. It just is. It is. Now, it was always speculation that the terrorists had left town or fled the state or something like that. I said it was a possibility that he could have, but then again, we all know what he looks like. So there's only so many places he could have went. And now that they said that they have him in custody, what I wish we could have seen is him actually being carried into custody to confirm that he actually is there. But that's not going to slow anything down. See, they're banking, okay, we got him in custody. We charged him with something, because let's be real, that third-degree murder charge, that's way too low. And they say we charged him with something. Hopefully now people will calm down. I doubt it. I sincerely doubt that's going to happen.
I'm trying to figure out how to, because it's like I'm trying to be as calm as possible and not go completely, off the rails, because it's like listening, like hearing us talk, and then thinking about all the circumstances surrounding a lot of these killings and how in none of these cases no real justice is taking place. I mean, the only real justice that can happen is in a sense if we were to sit up there and do it realistically. I mean, that's the only real way to sit up there and do it. Trying to get myself in line. All right. So the one thing I also wanted to mention about this is the fact that I'm not sure if you or other people have noticed that when a lot of these shootings go on with police and that huge payday happens, that you never have none of these other families get together and form some type of watchdog group or some type of community to basically speak out and shine a light on everything that is happening. Because like I told people, I'm like, yo, the reason that that's happened is because as soon as you receive that money, it's basically a shut up. It's exactly. Like, all right, we give you that 12 million. Now you sign, this contract. You cannot talk about it. You can't go to the media about it or different things like that just because we gave you this money. And that's why all money is not good money.
Exactly. Because see, they're banking. And see, the thing is, they do that. I found they do that specifically with like a lot of families, the black victims, because they figure they're already in a financial disadvantage. So we're going to make their life better by giving them some money and hopes that they can make this go away. I hope they don't take it either. Let the people create a GoFundMe for them, and they can have that money take care of them.
Yep.
And speaking of money, I just got an email that from one of my subscribers that said, let me pull it up right quick. That Colin Kaepernick is offering to pay the lawyer fees for the Minneapolis protesters.
That's dope.
Because they're gonna need it, trust and believe. Those who are getting snatched up out there. But yeah, that is dope though.
Yeah. I didn't even know anything about that. I'm like, oh man, this man's still out here making moves. The funny thing about that is he did this. It was a lot of people that, in a sense, like questioned it, and they were like, well, he's not really black, and his girlfriend and different things like that. I'm like, look here. My whole thing is he sacrificed. He basically gave up the main thing he worked for the majority of his life to get into the NFL. He basically got there, saw something that was wrong. He was like, you know what? I'm going to push all that to the side. I'm going to use this platform to speak out for those who don't have a voice, and I want to give them a voice. He did that. He took all the hate. He took all the criticism. White America, they came out in droves. They were like, oh, we hate the NFL. We're not supporting you guys. We hate Colin Kaepernick, and, coming up with all these other names. Like, yeah, we're going to really show you what it is. We're going to start burning our Nike gear, even though, dummy, you already paid for it. So
hey.
Nike already got the money.
Oh, I forgot about that. I said, they are so silly. Shout out to you again, Solo Dolo. But yeah, when they said that, I'm like, you already paid for it. Nike Corporation already got your money. Like, they don't burn it. You can wipe your ass with it, and they still got your money.
Yo, it's like, oh my goodness, like they're idiots, 100% idiots. And it's like, even after that, I think something happened later on where he was able to get 20 million or something. I think it was like a contract with a company or something like that. So he still ended up getting, in a sense, a payday at the end for all of the effort that he was doing. And then he's doing stuff like this. And I'm like, and this is why I roll with Colin Kaepernick, because of like everything. Like I'm looking at the actions, not a lot of the words that you'll see celebrities normally do. And we know a lot of these celebrities like Diddy. He has what?
A lot of lip service.
Yeah, they'll talk all of this good game, but it's like when it's actually time for you to like show up to something because things are like really hitting the fan, you ain't nowhere to be found. You locked away in your mansion somewhere, and with all that money, not doing anything for the community. But like I told people, it's like, you know, for us, we did help in a sense, like build them, but we shouldn't initially look for them to sit up there and, you know, do shit for us, because at the end of the day, we built a lot of things that are out here and we can destroy a lot of the things out here. So we need to just like build up our own shit and like support it ourselves and like, you know, fuck a lot of the celebrities because they ain't really here for us.
Yeah, because like I said before, they are bounded by contract.
Yeah.
So they can only do so much.
Yep.
And to be honest, that so much isn't even enough.
Man, you got this whole crap people like, and it's like, yo, we got to keep correcting white people out here, and also some black people too.
I'm personally done correcting or trying to correct them. They are set in their ways. They're gonna do what they want. It is what it is.
That's true.
And like I said, that's also going to be their greatest undoing. They just don't know it yet. I said 2045 is right around the corner.
Yo, get them. Get them. Let them know. That time is rolling up. Your numbers are dwindling. Like they're so busy focused on us as the supposed real enemy that they don't understand that it's going to be them that's going to end up destroying them. Like, you can't be the virus and the cure at the same time. Like, that's not how that works. Exactly. But leave it up to white people to try.
Exactly. They have no idea what's in store for them, but they gonna find out eventually.
Mm-hmm. Keep telling them, it's like, yo, the sun don't like you. It's like, if I'm racist, so is the sun. Yo, it was something else I wanted to mention too, and I just forgot it. Oh my goodness!
I hate that I have to even bring this person up, but you familiar with the person I referred to as the Saltine Queen, right?
No.
I don't even want to say her name because I try my best not to say her name on my channel. But they call her they call her the Clan Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure someone's gonna type it in the chat. Someone type it in the chat. But she basically, now that's a propaganda artist if I've ever seen one. She always comes out and talks about this about these riots that go on. Mm-hmm. And she always talks about looters, but she always leaves out what leads up to that. She did not once mention anything about George Floyd, but she couldn't wait to mention something about these about looting and rioters and all types of stuff. She does that every single time.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. I see. Who is that, Mickey? Okay.
No, it's not. It's not her. Quasi put it. Not the coonstress.
Oh, white girl. Oh,
yes, her.
Man,
yes, her. That's why I say I try my best not to say her name. That's why I call her the Saltine Queen.
Yo, I knew it had to be one of the two. I was going to ask her, like, is she black or white? I'm like, no, narrow it down.
They listen. They practically act the same exact way. It's
that's true.
One happens to be white, one happens to be black. One wants to be white, and that's definitely the coonstress.
But it's like, I feel like the other one, it's like, even though she is white, I feel like she would end up dating a black guy. Out of all of the shit that she normally talks, it's like she just has that look where it's like she would end up dating a black guy. I can see it.
Oh yeah, that's what a lot of people always speculate. I wouldn't be surprised if she has at least slept with a black guy.
Like, oh my goodness, she always got a mouth, and she has a plan. And that's the thing that kills me right there. It's like people like that will always have. I mean, well, of course, because of the system that we're in, but they'll always have a platform. But it's like somebody like you, where you're doing your due diligence, you're getting out all the information, all of the articles, correcting mainstream media, filling in the gaps and all the plot holes. It's like, oh, we can't have that, so we're just going to delete your channel. and then that's the end of it. But you're going to allow this BS to sit up there and go on, and she's spreading all to a certain extent. She even spreads more misinformation than Fox News, even though it seems ridiculous. But
basically, in my opinion, in my honest opinion, I think that she is trying to campaign to be the next Megyn Kelly. Like I've always gotten that vibe from her. I said she's basically Megyn Kelly Jr. Like when Megyn Kelly phased out of Fox News, it's almost like they were trying to propel her to follow up right behind her, and she fits it right to the T. You have a young or a white woman who's blonde hair, blue eyed, even though I think she put a bit too much peroxide in her hair dye, and it's gonna seep into her brain because of the stuff that she says.
This man said Timmy Loren. Oh shit.
But yeah, the Coonstress, yeah, she said something. Candace Owens, she said something this week that really pissed me off. She basically said that people are out here, and she was talking about us.
Yeah.
She was basically saying that we're out here acting like trained chimpanzees.
Word. So because you're married to, okay, all right. I'm just, oh man. Yeah, bruh.
Meanwhile, she out here looking like the chihuahua in the face.
Yeah, like, why? Every single time it's somebody who is married or to a white woman or a black man. I mean, like the opposite.
Yeah.
Who always wants to state all of this nonsense, and I'm like, where do y'all get these clowns from? Like, where do you find them? And it's
exactly.
like, the amount of self-hatred. It's like, I get it. All right, you say that you're Republican because of how it once was back then. You're a free thinker. You're not up for the Democratic plantation. That's cool. That's great. Do whatever it is that you want to sit up there and do. But at the end of the day, it comes to a certain point in time. If you are basically, in a sense, Candace, don't talk about black shit. Because you are no longer in that realm. You have now, as most people would say, you have your trophy. You are now above the fold. So you're no longer with this. It don't matter if you got the black skin. Your thought process is not black. Your heart is not black. And more than likely, the people that you associate with at this point in time ain't black. So it's like, stay out of our shit. Like, be with like your white dude. Go take your trips. Do whatever you want to sit up there and do. Go to the White House, meet the president. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. Stay out of our shit, because we don't need you speaking on what it is that's happening to us and that's actually affecting us every single day. Because when she walks out of the house, she doesn't have to worry about getting shot up by the cops, but we do.
And it's unfortunate that Candace Owens, I found out that she lives in DC. That's too close to me. But I guess she figured she lives close to DC. That'll get her closer to 45.
Right.
I said, I had did a video about her running with security at a Whole Foods last month because she didn't have her mask on. And she tried to brush off the fact that only 69 people died from the virus. I said, this woman is so cold-hearted.
Wow.
She goes out of her way to be the way that she is. And mind you, this is the same woman who sued her school because of racial discrimination and won. I'm like, if you don't believe racism exists, you need to give that school back every bit of that $35,000 that you got. And then, soon after she got that money, she dropped out. She didn't finish school.
Amazing.
She basically got her bag and ran.
Amazing. And I'm not sure if you've seen this story. I think it happened, I want to say, about a year or two ago. It was a young black woman who basically played as if she was like a Republican and got a whole bunch of like white people to like fund her. It might have been like, a couple, maybe I say at the bare minimum, maybe 50, at a high, maybe like 100,000. Yeah. But she basically played white people to the point to like fund her. And then she came out later, was like, I'm not Republican. I don't believe in any of this. And white people were pissed. I was like, there we go. Yep.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. She played them all the way to the left.
Yep.
Like, she got all their money, but I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that's what Candace Owens is doing. I think she's in this for the long haul.
No, she is. Her and who was the other dude? The black dude.
Brandon Tatum?
Uncle Ruckus. No, Jesse.
Oh,
The
yeah, that
old
guy.
black dude, Uncle Ruckus.
Jesse Lee Peterson?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brandon Tatum is another one. Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens are like the male and female version of each other. Like, they're just both bad.
Wow.
I don't know if you ever heard of him, but
I ain't never heard of that dude.
Woo! That's a person whose page. That's a person whose channel I go out of my way not to go to.
Let me see if I can find this.
Because he used to be a cop too, so he's always gonna be on that. He's always gonna be on that Blue Lives Matter tip. So
yeah, it's over for that dude. He basically in the same realm as that. What's the other cop name? Clark. They basically fired his ass.
Oh, Oreo Clark.
Yep.
The former sheriff of Milwaukee.
Yeah. Like that dude, he's out of there just like Diamond and Silk.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cubic zirconia and polyester. I tell you, I got nicknames for days for these people.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, now I see what you're talking about here. Okay.
And the thing is, say for instance, I did, and this is the reason why a lot of people ask me, Torian, why don't you do a video talking about some of the stuff that Brandon Tatum has said against black people? Trust and believe, I really want to. I would like to say do maybe one, because that's probably all I need to do. But the reason why I don't is because he has trolls everywhere. If they even see a video that has his name in it, they'll click on it. They'll listen to a little bit and they will instantly dislike it and leave all kinds of comments down there, to the point where you're going to turn the comment section off. You're going to have more dislikes than likes. Like, he has what you call a cult following. If you go on any video and or type into YouTube, Brandon Tatum is a coon, and you see someone talking about him, look at all the dislikes they get. It's the same thing with every time someone talks bad about him. And then they'll leave comments in the saying, you don't know him like that. He's a better black man than you'll ever be. And all the usual spill. As a matter of fact, when I talk about Candace Owens, sometimes I get some of the same things, but not as much. But I know if I did it about him, I already know they're gonna come. They're gonna come in full force. That's why I had to turn the comment section off for that video I did called "Playtime Is Over." Because
I saw that video
the trolls was invading that comment section, so I just turned the comment section off.
Hey man, it's only gonna be so many times that YouTube can mess around with your channel before like stuff just like coming to light.
Right.
Hold on, give me a second. I gotta answer the door real quick.
But shout out to everybody who is currently in the chat and enjoying the show right now. And shout out to everybody who is congratulating me. Jerome, you said he was never a cop. Based on how he is, maybe that's good. But then again, it's too many people like him out there. So I don't know if that's good or bad. I hope y'all can hear me amongst all the noise that's going on in the background. I haven't heard anybody complain and said it's so noisy, so I'm guessing that's a good thing. Seiji had to step away from the computer right quick, but he said he'll be right back. Yeah, Senior 34, exactly. It's been a hell of a ride when it comes to my channel. Oh, shout out to J3 Entertainment. Congrats, bro. Really proud of you. I appreciate it. It says, much love on the 30K, my brother. Keep it raining on him. Sean C. Jones, Hope Neal, thank you. Mr. Keith, congrats to Orange Greens from Toronto. Appreciate it. We were just talking about Toronto with that case going on up there. I don't know if you heard about it with that that 29-year-old black woman who they claim jumped off of the 24th floor of her building, although I highly doubt that she actually did that by herself. E-Dub said, how do you feel about the arrest and only being charged with third-degree murder? It's too low. And they're too late with the arrest, and we know why they arrested him now. It's because this is supposed to be a response to what's going on in Minneapolis. If they really wanted to do something, they would have done all of that before it got to this point. And we're only, 2 or 3 days into this thing? It's not slowing down anytime soon. I agree, Mr. Keys. I believe the cop did push her over. Machichi said, am I going to do a Petty Pendergrass production of Christian Cooper? No. As a matter of fact, when Seiji comes back on the computer, that's what we're going to talk about. Let's see here. He said that you think the rest is for protective custody? Probably. They're going to need all the protection they can get because the establishment is pissed at them right now. Yeah, like I said, E-Dub, they have been real quiet about what's going on in Toronto with that situation. And like I was saying earlier, it's so much stuff going on that's happening at one time. It's like, where do you shift your focus at? You said, yo, Torn, I can't wait till you do Indiana and Sundance. Oh, yeah, Indiana's going to be the next state. But like I said, we're going to be in Illinois for a while. We're going to be in Illinois for a while. But Indiana is actually the next state that I will be hitting. Oh, he said our white supremacy here in Canada is much more subtle. Oh, I can believe it. I can believe it. Compared to here in the States, where it's more open and more in your face. You said the whole world is watching America? Almost definitely. On that big Summer Jam screen. Appreciate it, One Pimp Afro. He said like they making up for lost time on the quarantine. Remember what I had told y'all before? I said we may be under this lockdown and this quarantine from this virus, but that ain't gonna stop them from practicing the system that they've always been dibbling, dabbling in for the last hundreds of years. Remember, there was some out there that said they wanted to purposely go out there and inflict pain and harm on people who were not white. Exactly. Every day that ends in a Y. And last I checked, there was 7 days in a week, and every last one of them ends in the letter Y. Oh, this does feel like a purge. It does feel like a purge in more ways than one. 2020 has been one crazy year, most definitely. And the thing is, the year isn't even over yet. We're not even out of May yet. But as far as that story in Canada, I hope it does get more traction because it's one big question mark over that entire situation. And I do not believe that that woman killed herself.
All right, there we go. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. I wanted to talk about, because someone had brought it up in the chat while you were gone, the whole situation with Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper.
Well, I'm trying to figure out. I think you did a video on that one, right?
Yeah, I did it last night.
Let me see. Get my mind right.
The one in the Central Park.
Oh, let me see something real quick. Let you fill me in on it real quick so I can get my bearings.
The lady who tried to call the cops on the guy and said that he was harassing her when she was walking the dog and he wanted to put the leash on the dog.
Okay, I got you. See, when you said that, I was thinking about the other video that you did of I was thinking about the white couple that you had up there.
Oh no, not that one. Not that one.
Yeah.
I know which one you talk about. Not that one. That's a whole nother disgusting story.
Yeah.
But not yeah, that one when she basically called the cops on him, saying that this black man, and she made sure to say African American man, was harassing her in the park. Meanwhile, she's holding her dog by the collar. She doesn't even have a leash on the dog, and the dog is being choked by her. Shout out to Johnny Thomas. It's a congratulations story. Appreciate you. But what you were saying?
She was killing that dog. That dog was literally trying to fight for dear life. Like the dog was to the point where he or she was like attacking her because she was like, "Oh, I'm going to make sure to sit up. I'm going to call the police, and I'm going to make sure to sit up there and tell them that there is an African American man out here and he's being aggressive towards me." She went through like 3 different levels of like violence and lying just to try to like
multiple levels of Karenitis.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, and I'm like, white people, this is why black people don't like you, and this is why we have an issue with you, because she literally said that she's going to make a call, she's going to falsify information to 911 and the police in order to get the initial reaction that she wanted to police. Because if you look at the other pictures of the dude is in shape. I say he's probably like 6, maybe like 6'2", 6'3", maybe 6'4", and the dude is like in shape. So it's like if the police were to roll up and see him, there might be a negative reaction that is going to come along just due to the fact of like how tall and how in shape he is.
Yeah, because of his aesthetic. Yeah, he fits the big black boogeyman stereotype. Shout out to Intelligent Cycles and congrats on reaching 30K. It's been a while coming from YouTube. Always messing with your sub count. I'm proud to keep 10 toes down and preach the black power. Appreciate it. But yeah. All was good, you know, leading up into that and watching her do all her dramatics until a couple of days ago when he came out and he said that he did not want people on the internet to really come at her the way that she did. In other words, he's on that forgiveness tip. I said, okay, I wash my hands of the whole thing.
See, okay, this is the best way I told like some of my friends. I'm like, you know what? I got it. And some of my friends and family, I'm like, all right, I get it. You know, you don't really have that energy to put towards it. You can't really afford, to do that because you got a lot of other things in life. All right. So this is why I'm here. Hand me all of that so I can sit up there and do what you can. Exactly. So it's like, that's basically like, trust me, I 100% understand what you're saying. It's like, yo, well, if you don't really care, then I shouldn't care either. It's like, fuck it. Right. It's like, I get it. But it's like, for me, it's like, no, I'm still gonna be getting at her ass. I want her to lose everything, like just like how she basically was going to use the police to try to take this man. I want everything from her, everything. She
right, and she got fired and everything. And I was saying basically, if that's how you was going to feel, why did you go out of your way to record the interaction with her and then put it on the internet for us to consume and then respond to it? I said, in that case, why don't you just call up her job and tell her that they can give her job back? You might as well go ahead and do that now. You've already pretty much forgiven her. And then I'm hearing, and now I think it might actually be true because a lot of people have been saying it, that he's probably a part of the academy.
The police academy?
No. The other academy.
Wait. White woman?
No.
I gotta catch up on terminologies, man. You gotta help me.
the Skittle Academy.
As
a matter of fact, I think he is, because I saw a picture of him and he had some kind of shirt on and had rainbow letters on it or something like that. So I think he actually is.
I was right here with this dude. I'm like, yo, he wrote for Marvel. I'm like, dude is into science. I'm like, yo, this dude is dope. And it's like everything's just falling apart. I'm like, shit. Man, I don't get it. I don't get it. Lord. It's like I just need black people to stay on code just for like one time in life. It's right. Like Jesus. It's like
and the thing is he had her right where he wanted her and right where we wanted her. Because they don't do this kind of stuff often. I don't know if they took the dog away from her, but if they didn't, they need to, because it just shows that she is a danger to that dog.
Oh, the
Now
dog.
I feel nothing for her or him. Just the dog.
Oh, yo, speaking of which, yo, brother, we gotta get you to do some t-shirts, man. Gotta get you to
Hold on, right quick.
I got you. What people saying in chat? Dog walking. Really said we're not riding with him, giving that bird watcher the bird. You gonna hug her the next time? Yep. Well, yeah, I understand that one.
So they did take the dog away good because that dog don't need to be in her care. Not the way she was picking up the dog by the collar and dragging the dog along. I'm looking at the dog's face. I'm like, the dog's tongue is sticking out, and it's not because the dog is tired. The dog is choking. I'm like, she went out of her way to try to get this black man hemmed up and didn't care about the well-being of her dog. And the thing is, she had the leash in the other hand. All you had to do was put the leash on the dog's collar.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't feel nothing for her, and now I don't feel anything for him. But hopefully that dog is in a better place because around her is one place it didn't need to be.
Yeah.
And here's the ironic part. She actually rescued that. I think heard that she had rescued that dog from some other environment, and now people got to rescue the dog from her because of the environment it was in. That dog was just getting passed around like a carton of Newports around Cell Block C.
Yeah. Yo. Oh man. Well, you know, the dog is in a better place now.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, but yo, the thing I wanted to mention, like, yo, because I'll happily sit up there and buy a few shirts. Need you to sit up there and get on some of them shirts, man. I feel nothing. I need some of those shirts. I will happily sit up there and wear that, wear like the shirts and the hat on stream. We need some of those out here, man.
You know, that's something that has been like floating around, like really in my head and everything like that with like apparel. Because here's the crazy thing about it. I actually did reach out to somebody a couple years ago who wanted to help me create like a apparel with like my little catchphrases on it and whatnot. And some of the designs they came up with was crazy. Mm-hmm. And I actually started collecting the money from people to actually, because they had started to be in the process. And then all of a sudden, when I started to reach back out to the person, the communication started to like get blurred. And I kept reaching out to the person over and over again because there used to be an open line of communication. But then after a while, I never heard from them again. And I said, okay, I need to pull the plug on this thing.
Yeah.
And then I ended up having to refund the people all of their money. Because I didn't want people to think I was taking from them. So I just refunded everybody. So I just refunded them all of their money. And I was mad about that because the designs that the person came up with looked dope. I had even showed some of the people what the designs were going to look like before we actually was planning on distributing them. Mm-hmm. But then unfortunately, that never came into light.
I tell you this, the easiest way to do it, I say like up until like if you can find somebody, let's say like a Fiverr or different things like that, the best way to do it is just to like start off doing it yourself. Just have like a simple like black shirt or like a white shirt and just have like the words like on there. And it's like people who are a part of the channel, they already know exactly what it is. Like I know what it is. I've heard it, quite a few times, had me rolling. Oh, especially gotta get the other one. They gotta be on the hat. Palm colored. Gotta get that one. Gotta get that one. See, that one I need on the hat. That's the one right there I need on the hat.
And you know what's so crazy? That actually made it onto Urban Dictionary.
Yo, that's dope. See, yo, right there, that lets you know already that you were supposed to be, like, your platform was supposed to be way larger than what it is right now. Right. That right there. Like, once, like, you got people, it's like, yo, we about to put this man in Urban Dick. That right there shows it.
Shout out to, who is this? Shout out to Life of a Lady. He said, Shalom King. Congrats from a recent subscriber. Thank you.
Like, yo. Oh my, yeah, man. We gotta get that out there, man, because you got a lot of funny commentary. I also watched like a lot of the videos like you did about movies, and I think you had like the one collab that you had with uh some brothers, and I think y'all were going over, was it Black Panther or was it Endgame? I forgot which one it was, but it was like one of like the main Marvel movies. I'm like, that is dope. I'm like, that is dope.
Oh, you was it a live stream?
I'm not sure if it was a live stream.
Because I think I know what you're talking about. It wasn't Black Panther though. It was called The Eternals.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could have sworn you had another one though.
My bad, I keep muting it. They out here cutting the grass. So
Oh, no problem.
yeah.
But it's like, I love like a lot of those videos. It's like that's the type, like, man, and it's like I love stuff like that because it takes away from, in a sense, like the heaviness of a lot of the content that is on, the platform. It gives like other people, like something else to, look to and like, relax into, and talk about and different things like that. So it's like, that's dope.
Yeah, I try to keep a variety on my channel because, as a matter of fact, me doing like movie reviews and stuff, that was one thing that I was doing on my channel so people could see my face.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks to the woo-woo, that kind of dwindled.
Right.
And I think it was bringing variety to my channel as well.
Oh, dude, you can still do the movie reviews because you can just watch it. Well, I'm not, just for all intents and purposes, just in case any corporates are watching, I'm not condoning any type of illegal methods. But you can watch movies online, and you can still give out like the review and and different things like that. You can sit up there and do it that way. He had the one about Black Panther and Tim Gilliam. I think I did see that one about Black Panther. It was a few of those I sat up there and watched. Oh, that was the other one too. I think you touched on too the thing about Marvel with the binary characters, where Marvel was like, yeah, we're gonna basically come out with these characters with like various like sexualities, and I'm like, so you mean to tell me that the main time you want to come out with gay characters is they have to be black? And I'm like, their superpowers are ass, the costumes are ass, the storyline is ass, and you want to sit up there and try to pander and sell this off to people as if it's going to be like the next big thing. That's why that shit got ended. Like, right. Marvel completely pulled the plug on that. And I'm like, it should never even had a plug to begin with. That was 100% pandering and nonsense.
Exactly.
Like, stop trying to make black people the poster child for the LGBT. Like that, like, come on now.
Right. And the thing is, the character in the comic wasn't even a part of the Academy. Jesus. He was a very masculine alpha male.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go and you get a black actor to put in this role of this character who is a very powerful character, and you make him a part of the G class, give him a white husband with a child. And the thing is, they don't go into detail of what the movie is supposed to be about. All they keep talking about is them. So I'm like, okay, is this a superhero movie or some kind of romantic comedy?
Exactly.
I'm not paying to see that. I wouldn't even watch that on bootleg.
So man took it back. So man said bootleg. Oh man. It's like, yo, the same way you felt about that is the same exact way I feel about Power Rangers. Like, I was hyped when the movie came out. I'm like, yo, this is about to be dope. Yeah. Da da da. And then out of nowhere, the Yellow Ranger was like, yeah, I have, relationship issues. Like, what is it? Like, you got a guy? And she just looked. It was like, it's a girl. And I'm like, what does that have to do about being teenagers with attitude from Angel Grove? Like, the real Billy was a part of the LGBT, but he knew what the role is. The role, in a sense, did not have like a sexual stance to it, but he played it as a heterosexual male. The same thing with George Takei in Star Trek. He said the same thing. And then the funniest thing is, he is a part of LGBT, and he was like, you know what? I don't know why you decided to make my character the character that I play. I don't know why you decided to do that. That's not the role that, you know, that defined him. Like, that's not how he's supposed to be represented. He even said in an interview, he played it. He know exactly how he is, but he set out to play the role as a heterosexual male, and that's exactly what he did. So if people don't believe that there's an agenda out here, that people are trying to forcefully like push this on people, I don't know what to tell people. It's in the cartoons, SpongeBob, in a lot of these other it's in so many cartoons I can't even like name them to you right now, including the comic books, where like at one point in time, Iceman's sexuality got changed, and I'm like, what's going on? Alan Scott, who was the other Green Lantern, his sexuality got changed. I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Shout out to Wayne Tillman. He said, congratulations on this great milestone. Let's go get 30K more. Appreciate you. What got me, though, is interesting you mentioned cartoons, was what they did with Mr. Ratburn.
Oh,
I was like, first off, I didn't even know Arthur was still on. I did not know Arthur still came on, because, you know, Arthur, that's from our childhood.
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't know that. So then they came out and they said, "Oh, Mr. Ratburn he's a homosexual, and by the way, he's getting married." I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, how did this happen? First, we just learned that that he's a homosexual character, which we did not know for years apparently, and now you're giving him a husband.
Hold on. Somebody said, wait. What comic? That has to be like an Otherworld comic that Norm's talking about. He said the Juggernaut is gay. When did that happen?
All right, I need confirmation on that.
Where? It's like, what is going on? Like I don't yo, man, they are killing me with this, man. They are straight killing me with all of this nonsense. Yo, I remember an episode in Arthur where they were trying to figure out if Mr. Ratburn was married or not. And they kept saying like a Mrs. Ratburn and like trying to imagine like what she looks like and like in different things like that. Now here we come like a decade plus later. It's like, Mr. Ratburn is homosexual. He's been like this for a very long. Like, what?
So basically what they're saying is that Mr. Ratburn was on the DL.
Right.
Basically is what they were saying.
So he had a beard this whole time. It didn't work out. So I guess if Mr. Ratburn is gay, then Miss Frizzle is a lesbian. Is that what we're doing?
Wow.
Because I ain't never seen Miss Frizzle with a man. I've never seen it.
Right. The only time we ever saw Miss Frizzle was on that little magic school bus.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my goodness. I don't know. And the funny thing is, if you think about it, I know other people have like brought it up, but if you look at the kids on a magic school bus, they matched up damn near exactly with Captain Planet. Like, look at the pictures from like all the kids in a magic school bus, and then look at Captain.
I never thought of that.
It's like it's basically them when they got older. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I never picked up on it, but now that I think about it and I'm seeing their images, I say I can see it.
Like, yo,
Captain Planet was a dope cartoon too.
It was.
You have a character that got created from the elements of the planet, and he was basically a superhero that was all about the environment and keeping things clean. And then they gave you a little factoid at the end of every episode. So you got some education and you got some action in there. Talk about a variety.
Wait, B1 said Captain Planet was gay. I've never seen that in the show. I need to see where that was at. I never seen it. I've never seen that at all.
I'm not even gonna lie. When I was young, I wanted one of those rings,
dude,
and hopefully that if I called out the sign, that Captain Planet would appear.
Yo, I'm right there with you. Yo, I still look here. I still want my ring. I gotta buy one. I still want my Mastodon Morpher. I still want my power dagger. Yo, it's a lot of stuff from my childhood I still want. I just wasn't able to get the Morpher at the time because at one point they were 60. Then once Power Rangers started getting popular again, it went up to 80. Then it shot up to 100 or something. Like, hold on, guys. Wait a minute. I need y'all to bring those prices way back down here. Y'all doing a little bit too
You know what's so crazy? If you look at the price of stuff, how stuff cost back then compared to now, that stuff was cheap.
Yeah, it was.
Compared to now.
Like Super Nintendo and like the Sega Saturn and everything, like, yeah. Because like you got cell phones that cost, you got what, one of the iPhones cost about like what, 1,200?
Yeah.
Compared to like some of the game systems back in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And the cartridges were cheap too. Now it's like $60 just for like a small card for a Nintendo Switch. I'm like, hold on, son, what's what else can I do with this? Like, what's going
Just like
on?
also like when you like thinking about like getting those like game consoles like a PS5 or Xbox One and how much those games cost. I remember at one time, like, you know, the original Xbox, those games was like $50. Now they like almost 70. You talking about almost paying $100 for a lot of these games nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude, and that's not even mentioning like, let's say like PS4, The Last of Us. I think they got like a $200 special. I'm like, yo, what is this? This is not a concert. It's like even when it's a concert, I really feel like that's too much. But it's like in a sense, I get it when it comes through with like the music and different things, and it reaches people on a, you know, different emotional levels. I get that part, but it's like a video game, $200. What's going on?
And speaking of, to go back to Magic School Bus, I actually found out that Little Richard did the theme song for that.
Oh yeah,
yo, I was shocked to find that out.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude. Speaking of which, you know, speaking of people who do songs, you know who did the song for Dragon Ball Z when it came out in the 90s, right?
Who?
Linkin Park.
Oh, I didn't know. See, I didn't realize Linkin Park was around that long because I got exposed to them like maybe in the 2000s or somewhere around that time.
Yep, same here. Same here. It was like the one where it's like Dragon Ball Z, like that one. Linkin Park. I'm like, yo, and that's when I fell in love with Linkin Park because I'm like, y'all got me. I'm here. I'm like, yo, and that's another thing that I loved about growing up in like the early like 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you got exposed to like a lot of different music. So it's like you got a lot of like black people to know about, let's say like Nickelback, REM, what is it? Static X, Green Day. It's like a variety.
It was like a very mixed bag of music, especially in the early 2000s, like late 90s and stuff. That was just a good time to be alive. I feel bad for these ones that's growing up today because I'm like, y'all have no idea what y'all missed out on. Like the 90s and early 2000s, like I would say to like 2005 was a very good time for a lot of things, especially music.
Yep, 100%. Oh yeah, like who was it? Talking Girl mentioned you had Whoopi and LeVar Burton on the show.
Uh-huh.
Wait, he voiced Captain Planet? Hold on. Holy shit. I didn't even realize that. I knew Whoopi Goldberg was Gaia. I did not know LeVar Burton was Captain Planet. Are you? Wow. I didn't know that. That's almost like when I first found out that Kyle Barker, the guy who played Kyle Barker in Living Single, was the voice of Kratos.
Yeah, when I found that, I was like, wow! I had to go back and listen to his voice on Living Single, and then listen to his voice as Kratos from God of War. They sounded different. I mean, I guess because he was using his regular speaking voice as Kyle on Living Single, and he had to kind of over dramatize his voice for Kratos. Yeah. And then, but then when I kind of looked at him like this, and I kind of combined it, I said, "Now, kind of hear a little bit of similarities depending on how he uses the tone in his voice." But when I found out he was the voice of Kratos, I was like, "That's Kyle Barker."
Yeah.
You know, it's so crazy though because you know, us black folks, we know Living Single. The people who are probably into God of War like that, and God of War is an awesome game. It's one of the best games ever made.
Yes,
and when you, because of course you know, like a lot of white people, they love God of War. So if you was to tell them that, or just come out and say to them, "Oh, that's Kyle Barker," they'll probably be like, "Who?" But if you tell it to your black friend who was around during that time, you're like, oh, that's Kyle Barker. They're like, from Living Single? Yeah.
Just like brother Phil Lamar was the voice of Samurai Jack.
Uh-huh.
Like, man, and then on top of that, like, yo, we had.
Then you had Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil was Shredder in TMNT.
Whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. Wow. Wow. That's crazy.
But you want to know who did a lot of voiceovers back in the 90s? Do you remember on the show A Different World, the actress who played Freddy?
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about too.
She did a lot of voiceovers. When I looked up her resume, I could not believe she did the voices of all of those characters.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, her resume is lengthy. Yeah. Cree Summer, that's her name. I was like, wow, I could not believe how many characters she has done over the year. And it was so crazy because A Different World, that was one of my favorite shows growing up.
Yep.
And she's gone on record as saying that she really never did a lot of acting on-screen roles. The only time I think she said she did on-screen acting was A Different World, of course, and it was an episode of Living Single she did, and I know she did an episode of Fresh Prince. And I think that's like one of the only acting on screen she's ever done. Everything was pretty much voiceover. And I remember I saw this movie that came out back in the early 2000s called Atlantis: The Lost Empire, which is a very underrated, I guess you'd say, Disney movie.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. She
did the voice of the princess on there. And I was like looking at the cast list. I said, Cree Summer, wait a minute. Freddy from A Different World? Because I said that's the only person I could think of who has that name. And I looked it up. I was like, that is her. And then when I looked it up, it led me down a whole laundry list of characters that she has done voiceovers for.
Like, we may want to know.
Like the people in the chat right now listing the stuff that she's done.
Yep. Kids Next Door. Oh, shit. She was Penny from Inspector Gadget? What?
I remember she did the character of the black chick on that show Batman Beyond, the one with the pink hair.
Oh, you talking about Max? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yo, thank you for bringing that up. I was going to mention that for like some of the shows in the early 2000s, and I wanted to mention those because of I can't think of his first name, but it's a brother by the name. He was a writer by the name of McDuffie. He wrote a lot of these stories, let's say Batman Beyond, and especially the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. He wrote for those, and especially when it came down to the the black relationships, where you had Vixen and John Stewart, who was like the Green Lantern. I'm like, that's what I'm like. This is why I want more black writers when it deals with superheroes.
Dwayne McDuffie, wasn't he over Milestone Comics?
I think so, yeah, because he wrote for Static Shock too.
Yes, listen. They need a Static movie.
Bars.
That is a character that has been long overdue for some screen time, but definitely needs to be done in the right way. I was a huge fan of Static Shock back in the 90s. You could not tell me that I was not related to Virgil Hawkins.
Yo. Oh man.
But I said what was so interesting about Static Shock though is that it changed the dynamic of the superhero sidekick thing. Because usually the sidekick was usually the black guy. But here you had a white boy who was his sidekick, and he called himself Gear. Because he was early on, he wasn't like helping him out with any missions. He was just like kind of in the background. And he was like the strategy guy. But then he ended up creating his own suit and calling himself Gear. Sort of like how with Rhodey from Iron Man became War Machine. Yeah, it was kind of like that. And then you had a boy who had a sister but he was raised by his single dad because their mom had passed.
Mm-hmm.
That's different because usually it's always him being raised by the single mother. But here you had a guy who was raised by a single dad.
Yep. And it was positive. Yo, and then touching on that even is a reflection of like the 90s, where it's like I feel like during that time and from like I want to say like the late 80s to like the early 90s and maybe a little bit of the 2000s, like black people, like we just had all spectrums.
Yeah.
And it came to like positivity being, you know, like covered. Hanging with Mr. Cooper, we had Living Single, we had Parenthood, we had In the House. Oh my God, we had Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It like we had so much black like community and black positivity and imagery out there, and it's like it just started like dwindling down. And then like the last one I really have is Innocent Static Shock, where you have that whole thing of the single father, you know, doing everything that he can to, you know, raise his two kids, you know, everything that's going on. And then on top of that, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, he worked in the school system, right? He was a principal, right? Or a counselor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, yo, that's dope. But it's like, we don't have enough of that out there. And
the last thing we had with that was probably Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah.
That movie was so
it was
good.
dope.
The animation was like it was literally like watching a comic book on screen.
Yep.
Like, the animation in that was well done. I said if they do more animation movies like that for superhero movies, they need to do it like that. Because that was very well done. And like you said, that had the family dynamic in it as well.
Oh yeah. It was dope. Oh, speaking of which, since we're talking about animation, let me tell you, I'm not sure. Have you heard of a game? It came out, I want to say around like 2012. It was called DC Universe Online.
Okay.
So if you happen to like look that up or see it at any point in time, look at the CGI for that. Like the whole thing has about like 2 or 3 clips that it has, and they're like about like 11. One is about the intro is about like 11 minutes. It basically ends up and it shows like this huge fight going on in between the superheroes and the villains, and everybody's dead. And all you have left is Black Adam versus the Flash. You got Batman versus, in a sense, Deathstroke and the Joker, even though Batman sort of kind of almost got killed. And then you got Superman versus you got Lex Luthor versus Wonder Woman. She ended up, because of Cersei, getting defeated, and she got killed. Lex Luthor took her dead body, put kryptonite in it, and then, well, before that happened, he made her scream because Superman was fighting for a week straight, and his powers are low. He supercharged at the sun, heard her scream, came back at light speed, just completely demolished like Lex's suit. I think he might have had like kryptonite lasers coming from that possibly, and he was just tearing that suit apart. He went to Diana, and he was like looking for her to like speak or say something. Her mouth opened up. You saw nothing but kryptonite rocks. And that's when like Superman dropped. Lex came out with a kryptonite lance and basically stabbed him directly in the heart. And it was like basically the villains won up until you saw all of Brainiac's ships coming all over the planet. And it was nothing Lex could do because everybody was basically dead.
Wow.
And it was like the CGI, like when you look at that, because like even like me explaining it, it has nothing when you look at the imagery and the CGI and the amount of time and effort they put onto that. And then the future episode where you got future Bruce and you see him all battle torn. Yo, the way that DC, this is why I say like Marvel, when it comes to the big screen, Marvel did it right. They'll win that, even though I can break down every single movie. I can show you the plot holes. Like a lot of the stories are full of like Swiss cheese. Like that's how many holes are in a lot of those stories.
I bet.
But they did it well enough where it succeeded. DC, for whatever reason, can't get it right. But what DC is the king of is animation. Marvel cannot beat them in that. Marvel cannot beat them in the movie animation at all. Like their animation for their stuff, like the Justice League Dark. Both 1 and 2. Have you seen those yet?
I haven't seen it yet,
brother. Yo, whoo! And they're rated R, So when I mean that people are dying, I'm talking about heads are getting split open, superheroes are getting pulled apart, they're getting eaten alive, they're getting split in half. Like, dude, it was. Have you ever seen Flashpoint?
I have not seen Flashpoint yet.
When you like, dude, when you happen at any point in time to go through those movies, it is the bleakest, darkest future that you have seen for superheroes animated. It was like it gets to the point in those films where you're rooting for the villains to sit up there and win because you literally don't have anybody else to sit up there and like go for it. Yo, it's oh man.
I wonder if I can find it on my Fire Stick.
Woo! I know they have it on if you look at Justice League Dark War on Apocalypse, if you technically you can start from any which one. But those movies basically stem from Flashpoint because we all know, like, just like in Marvel, Cable, or better yet, I'll do it like this. Trunks. Whenever Trunks basically shows up, some shit is about to happen or something got messed up because Trunks did something that he wasn't supposed to do or he said something. So it's like, all right, well, we got to fix this now. So right. That's the same thing with the Flash. He's basically that point where it's like, all right, in Marvel or in DC, all right, we messed up on some stuff or we want to end some stuff. So we're going to bring in the Flash to basically go use the Speed Force to go through and hopefully correct something. But we know he's going to mess up something. And then from that, we're going to develop, some more stories. Right. So, it's basically that whole thing. But it is insane. Just like, like somebody else mentioned too, Injustice 2, that was a very well done story, especially how they like Superman. Like realistically, I do love Superman as a superhero, but I love, like, in a sense the whole thing of him having to like figure out or in a sense like tread lightly with certain things, because just like Spider-Man, if he was to in a sense reveal who he was, everybody would directly come after who he knows as Clark Kent. So that'd be like Perry, Jimmy, Lois, Ma, Pa Kent, and like everywhere else. But if you look at the Kingdom Come storyline, which happened in the 90s, which is a very great story if nobody's read it, drawn by Alex Ross artwork wise, Superman lost Lois, and that's what was the crossover that they had with the Flash on the TV show? I think it was, should have been like Infinite Earths. That's what I can't think of the brother's name. What is his name? Ruth. You might know who I'm talking about. The guy who plays Superman before Henry Cavill.
Stephen Ralph.
Yeah, is it Stephen or Brandon? It's one of those.
Brandon.
Yeah. Brandon Routh. He played Earth 2 Superman. So he was basically the Superman where Lois got killed. And he completely left being a superhero. He was just on the farm taking care of like different stuff there. Well, in the Kingdom Come universe, and then the Justice League came because they needed him back in order to get the new meta heroes like in line. And he was about to basically destroy like the whole UN. Like that was basically a Superman that did not give any type of shit about anything else. He was like full on Kryptonian. He was almost like a nicer version of Zod, because like he realistically he didn't care, because he basically lost his whole world when Lois was gone. So it's like you got that whole thing, and the other thing you mentioned about into the Spider Universe.
Yeah, I
hope. I'm not sure how they would do it. I would almost want to have it like a live action, almost, even though it might. I do feel like that might kind of ruin it, I guess, because the animation did it perfectly, and they can just do so. I don't know. Would you want to see that live action?
I kind of would. I mean, they've already given Peter Parker so many films as a live action character, and I think at first when they found out that they were making Into the Spider-Verse and they said it was going to be animation, people were kind of turned off. They was like, why aren't you allowing Miles Morales to have a live action film? But it was actually done very well, and people actually liked it to the point where some people forgot that they even complained that he didn't have a live action version of the film. And they said that if they come out with a second one, let it still be like the one that they had before. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually all for it if they do it the way that they did it. a second time around because I know they're gonna come out with a sequel because the first one did so well.
Yeah.
Because I would like to see where else this story is going to go. And then this is like one of the first times we saw the different Spider characters all in one movie.
Yes.
And see, the thing is, with animation, they could do so much. If they did a live action movie, it would be hard to do a lot of the stuff that they did in that without it looking phony. So with the animation, they were a bit safe, but they went above and beyond to make it look spectacular. Because it was something that they really didn't see on screen before. It wasn't something that was done over and over again. Like they literally took their time and said, "Okay, we're going to make it look like it came straight out of the comic book," and that's what it did.
Mm-hmm. Yo, like my bad if I'm super talking on this. I'm just hyped to be able to actually like have like a full-fledged like conversation with somebody else that knows. So it's like I'm enjoying this moment right now. But yeah, like somebody who mentioned that down there. B1, yeah, the Killing Joke. That was a ruthless novel right there. But the all right, let me see. DC film wise, speaking on Batman, other than me being a huge fan of course, like Christopher Reeves as Superman and Michael Keaton as Batman, I will say that I liked the version. It was sort of like taken from the Frank Miller novel. I like the version of Batman that I can't even think of his name now. You know who I'm talking about? He lastly played Batman. Last person. Ben
Affleck?
Yes. Because Batman was actually killing people. All those people in the factory that he was just bodying, they were dead. They were not coming back. And I'm like, that, like, I've wanted to see that for so long. I'm like, dude, let this dude just like let loose. Don't send nobody to like Arkham Asylum. Take them down. I'm like, and I loved it. That was like one of the most beautiful things that like I was able to see. Like I really wish he just had like his own movie.
Right.
Where
they're currently working on that right now. I don't know how it's gonna play out. It's called The Batman.
But it's with Twilight. It's
Twilight.
It's just like the whole thing with the Christian Nolan. It's like they did good with 1 and 2. Yeah, they messed it up with Bane. They were like, we're not gonna have Batman defeat him. We're gonna let Princess Diaries kill him. What? How? Like this is what we're coming to now. Like we can't even follow like the storyline. Like there was no Ra's al Ghul, Talia al Ghul. She was the whole mastermind behind this, and she was trapped in there with Bane. Mind you, she was a girl the whole time, trapped in a men's prison. So I'm not sure how that set up there and realistically worked out successfully like that. And then she was in a sense the one to make it, and then she went back for Bane, and then Bane wasn't using the Venom, he was using a Darth Vader respirator, and it was like you break one of the vents, he's on the floor like looking for his inhaler. I'm like, what? I don't understand this. Like,
and I could have sworn Bane was from South America.
He is. He came into prison. He had to the original Bane when he was little. His dad didn't finish his prison sentence, so what they did was they took his son and they sent him into the prison to finish up his father's prison sentence. So you got this little boy with a teddy bear with a knife, stuffed in his teddy bear in this prison. And it was like this whole time he basically started like working out, and he grew like this obsession with like Batman and basically wanting to beat him. Like physically, Bane would a natural Bane will mess up Batman. And they even showcased that with like Bane without the Venom, when he was like completely clean without the Venom, Batman was getting worked. He really thought he was going to come in here and mess up Bane. Bane was still tossing him. He was flexing him. He was deflecting shots. He was actually 2 times faster and quicker without the Venom than he was with it.
The only thing that I saw in The Dark Knight Rises that kind of matched the comics when Bane was fighting Batman was when he broke his back.
Oh yeah.
And then when he broke his mask.
Oh yeah, that whole monologue, like, dude, I was like, oh, it's about to happen. Oh snap! It was nothing he can do. It was it was like seeing like your favorite like superhero like lose a fight finally, and it was like it was almost like a train wreck that you just couldn't look away from. It's like you just want to like actually like see it, and it's like, damn. But the thing that killed me though on there was that this is how these movies are supposed to be done. So when it came to the whole thing with Batman, after his back was broken, he's basically out for a year plus. So you have Azario basically come in and he would take over for Batman. This is when you had like this large, and Azario, he's basically a genetic freak. He was made in a laboratory and different things like that. So he basically comes in and he takes over for Batman. He's killing villains, doing different things like that. I think at one point in time, Robin tries to come in and either talk some sense into him or tries to stop him. And I think he almost ends up potentially killing Robin. And then he goes after Bane. And then even Bane on the Venom wasn't strong enough to sit up there and handle Azario. Like Azario set up, he was just messing this dude up. Bane was running for dear life. So then Batman got like whatever he had to do together, and he was able to come back and then, you know, defeat him. So it was like that storyline was supposed to go a little bit longer. The same thing with the death of Superman. After Superman dies from Doomsday, you're supposed to have the reign of Superman. So you're going to have Supergirl. You're going to have Kara show up. You're going to have the clone show up. That's Superboy. Then you're going to have Steel show up. Then you're going to have Cyborg Superman, who was what is it, Hewitt? I forgot his name. But Cyborg Superman, and then you had the Kryptonian pre-Brainiac version of Superman show up. So it was going to be all of these Superman basically showing up to fill this void of Superman. That's why I like DC when they do like their animated stuff, because they actually keep on track, you know, with the storylines and stuff. Because they had the black suit, like, and I'm going to watch it when they happen to come out with the Zack Snyder director's cut version. Because the black suit was in there. Him with the long hair, that was in there because that's all a part of the story. Because he needed that black suit so he can absorb more sunlight for his body, because he was in such a, you know, weakened state and stuff. Like, it's a lot of stuff. Like, that story with Superman was supposed to be a 3-part series. And I told people if they were to do that correctly, that would be a $1 billion like thing by itself. The same thing with Batman. If they did that correctly, it would be the exact same thing. But it's like they mess it up. The same thing with the X-Men. X-Men United. Completely, that story was shit. I'm not like
I said that they need, first off, just leave the Dark Phoenix storyline alone for a while. Leave the Phoenix Saga storyline alone for a while. Because I remember back in the 90s watching X-Men, and when that saga came up, that was a long running storyline. Like, that was like 6 parts, and they had to split it up. Like, they had the first 3 parts come on, then they had to like take a break from it so they could finish writing the other 3 parts, and then they finish it up with the last 3 parts. But I said they have a hard time trying to incorporate the Phoenix storyline into the movies. I said you cannot cover that storyline with one movie. It's hard. It's impossible.
Yep. And the cartoon series showed that like, even if they veered away from the Phoenix was still some way, shape, or form still attached to like whatever, you know, next story that they were doing, you know, in the animation for the X-Men cartoon, which, mind you, X-Men and Batman were in at least like my top 5 or like top 10 of those animated TV shows that I felt that were done very well. And that were technically both geared towards kids and adults, you know, like at the same time. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Because that Dark Phoenix movie was terrible.
Woo! I don't think we're going to even bring up Age of Apocalypse. That
was bad too.
Whew. Yo, that was. I'm trying to figure out. Let me see. How many times have we done the Phoenix? They did it with United.
That's kind of like the first time we saw the Phoenix appear on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did it with The Last Stand. They did it completely wrong. I'm like, wait a minute, I could have sworn that the Phoenix turned into a Firebird. Where's the fire?
Yeah.
And then they did it with at the end of Apocalypse. That's where we actually saw. Now I will say this. as bad as Apocalypse was, the imagery of how the Phoenix looked at the end of the movie, it was so crazy because I had told somebody before that movie came out, I said, I bet you they are going to show us the Phoenix in somewhere in that movie, and they didn't believe me. Mm-hmm. And I knew it was coming because when Apocalypse held the professor down in his mind, and Jean walked through the door, I said, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. I was just guessing that they were going to talk about the Phoenix in the movie. I didn't know they actually were going to do it. So as soon as she's walking off of the edge and walking onto nothing, I said, wait a minute. That's not Jean, I said, that's not something Jean Grey would do or can do.
Right.
And I'm leaning up in my seat, like this is all seriousness. I'm leaning up in my seat. And then when he tells her to let go, like let her power just flow, and she extends her arms out and it comes out, I'm not even going to lie. That kind of knocked me back in my seat. I was like, they actually did it.
Right.
And I think what took me by surprise was how they actually made her look like the Phoenix. Like that's how the Phoenix is supposed to look.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably like the only good part of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I do like how like dope in a sense Magneto, like power wise, they made him look. I'm like, if y'all could just do this a lot, like actually show what Magneto can do instead of like in a sense like dumbing it down, like okay, I'm going to flip this tank, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. If you can just like let people know exactly what he's able to do, because he can use the Earth's magnetic field to like do a lot of things to basically like power him up and shit. I just wish that they took that same thing that they did with him and Archangel. I wish they did that with Storm.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that. They completely underpowered her character. I said Storm is probably one of the most iconic X-Men of all time, but probably one of the most iconic superheroes of all time. And the way that they underpowered her in these movies is an absolute travesty. I said we probably won't see Storm's true power until they insert her somewhere in the Black Panther movie.
Yep. I was thinking, yo, as soon as you started, before you even finished that sentence, I was on that same exact thing. I'm like, yep, 100%. Because yo, literally, it's going to take like somebody like Ryan Coogler or somebody else in that same arena who's Black to literally do that. And I feel like that's the only way that a Black film will be successful. We can't keep having a supposed Black story, but it's written by a whole bunch of white people. Yeah. It's like they're looking through this through, a whole different lens, and they can't understand like a lot of, like our humor or a lot of the things that we go through or how we would interact here or here or here, and different things like that. Black Panther basically had that done. You saw in a sense like I sit up there and tell people like often, it's like, if you look at the characters of Professor X and Malcolm X, go back and listen to Stan Lee and he'll tell you that they were both based off of Professor X, Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X, who is Magneto. Like that's where that whole, one side versus the other side basically came from. And this is why at a certain point in those stories, you'll have Charles and Eric, they'll like actually agree on something. And like, that's the one thing that in a sense would bring like total ruin to a lot of the things like going on like in that universe. Like if they both agreed and came like eye to eye and like worked side by side, everything is done. It's like if you got the Purifiers out there, which is basically a Christian group who hates mutants and different things like that, on top of William Stryker and different things like that, it would be done. It would be complete game over. Because there will be nothing you can tell them. So
they, like I said, they completely underpowered her. As a matter of fact, it was a YouTube video that I had watched last month where they were doing like the something called like a family tree for Storm and T'Challa, and it was a very, very interesting breakdown of their family tree and then how they met and everything like that. Like that backstory alone could be its own movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I think that's what a lot of people want to see, is her appear with him, considering that, they at one point were married. and hopefully like they can create their own storyline, because the way that they ended their marriage in the comic books, it was dumb. Like I'm looking like y'all at first, and the reasoning that they did it was even more dumb. I said you did this because y'all felt two black superheroes being married was cliche. They were telling us something back then.
Yeah. And
that was back like what, in the 80s, I think.
Yep.
They couldn't wait to throw her together with Logan.
Yep. And that's the whole thing. I was looking at her hair. I'm like, how do you give her the Age of Apocalypse look in a sense? And we're dealing with like a whole nother like time. I'm really trying to figure out like what they were really trying to do with that whole thing there, because it just didn't make any like and then hold on, and then to make it worse, in one of the comics where it had to do with like Marvel Zombies, where basically something happened from like the Cancerverse. I forget, what's the Cancerverse, or it might be another comic, but basically in a Marvel Zombies comic book where the whole world basically became like zombies. You had one of the last areas that weren't like fully taken over yet, which was Wakanda. They were still holding off the whole like, you know, zombie invasion and different things like that. For whatever reason, out of the whole continent of Africa, they had T'Challa with a white woman. I'm like, hold on. So you mean to tell me that out of all of the black people that were there, not one of them got saved? Nobody can like clone some DNA? Like there's nothing like no Infinity Stones. Like you couldn't just have a black woman there. He just had to be old, like probably like 75 or something, still having on a Black Panther outfit. But like the woman that he was with was white. I'm like, who wrote this shit? I'm like, who? Like y'all just couldn't wait. Like yeah, somehow, some way, you just had to mess this all up. And I'm like, yo, they be killing me with this. Every single time we got like a strong black character, it's like, bam, he's with a white woman. Who said that? Who's writing this? I need to check your credentials. Like, you need to be fired immediately from everything. Like, yo, man, like,
Yeah, like I said, the agenda was real back then.
They slightly had Storm with a few characters, Logan, Gambit, and I think maybe one other person. But it's like, yeah, they really do some stuff when it happens to deal with like black characters.
They don't give a lot. They kind of underpower as well for the little bit of screen time that she does get, and that's Jubilee.
Yeah.
Because you know they had her in the Apocalypse movie, but she didn't really do nothing. And then it was a deleted scene that I saw where her, Nightcrawler, Jean, and Cyclops had went to the mall and they were playing like an arcade, and Nightcrawler had ran out of quarters to play the game, and then they was like no need, and she took her hand and she stuck it down there and shot the sparks into the game, and it started it back up.
Yo, they took that from the episode. It was an episode when Storm, they took the Jeep and they went to the mall, and Storm was basically in charge, and they went to the mall and stuff. And I think Jubilee did something where her powers might have went like out of whack, and that's when people started getting scared, and then the Sentinels came in, and then
that was the very first episode.
Yeah,
that was the very first episode. I remember that.
Yep, I was like, yo, they throwing in some little Easter eggs in there. Okay, all right, I give them some credit on that. All right. And I feel like Jubilee actually, like the girl who played Jubilee, I'm like, if I look at Jubilee from the series and then look at Jubilee here, I'm like, it fits. I'm like, you did it, but you're not doing anything with her character. And then it's like Wolverine, then you got Jubilee, because Jubilee is basically his sidekick. And it's like that whole dynamic is gone because is Hugh Jackman coming back? I heard like some talks that he was supposed to be.
I don't know if he's coming back or not. I think he probably has hung it up.
Man, he better like get back in there and sit up there and do it. Pull a what is it? I was gonna say Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. Because Robert Downey Jr. at one point in time, this is what I feel for Robert. I love the dude as an actor. He 100% fits Iron Man due to the fact that everything that Tony Stark went through, like basically losing it all, going through like the women and the money and the alcohol and the drugs. He lived the story of Tony Stark. That's why that's.
Oh yeah. Nah, yeah. He was, his real life was a Tony Stark type of lifestyle, minus all the creating of the suits and all that. But I guess you could say outside of Iron Man, he was like Tony Stark.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like it fits. And after the movie Doctor Dolittle, which I just saw clips on YouTube, that bombed. It failed.
I looked at the previews and I could tell it was not going to do well. I said the only Doctor Dolittle I acknowledge is the one Eddie Murphy did.
Yeah. And I'm like, why would y'all do another one and not have like Eddie Murphy? Like, what was going on? Is it because Eddie's trying to do a comedy special now? Like he's working on that. That's why that didn't happen. Or like, I'm highly confused.
And see, the thing is, one thing that's going to be hard for a lot of those actors who have done like the Avengers and all those movies for all these years is doing other stuff outside of that because people are so used to seeing them be those characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you see Scarlett Johansson in something else, they're always going to acknowledge her as Black Widow. If you see Robert Downey Jr., they're always going to acknowledge him as Iron Man. Yeah. If you see what's Hemsworth brother is that Chris Hemsworth, you're always going to acknowledge him as
Thor.
Or if every time you see Chris Evans, you're always going to see him as Captain America. So it's like they're going to have to try to ease themselves back out into other projects now that their characters are pretty much done. After Endgame, those characters are done now. With the exception of Thor, because he still has another film to do under
Thor with Love and Thunder.
I'm shaky on that one, just on the title, on the title alone. And I think he might appear in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, because he's basically with them now. Yeah,
because he left with them.
Yep.
But I think like for a lot of them, it's hard for them to like venture into other things without them being acknowledged in those particular roles. That's why it's good that they do other things while doing those movies. But I can understand if they couldn't, because I'm sure shooting those Avengers movies took up a lot of their time.
Yep.
Because I know when they did Infinity War, they said when they were done filming, they were getting ready to start filming immediately into Endgame. As a matter of fact, I think they shot it all as one and then they just split it into two.
Wow.
So I know they were tired. I know that was like strenuous on the body.
Like now I say this though, I'm used to Chris Evans. Well, it's the whole rule that they basically like I would talk about with my friends. Like you got the whole rule where you can't sit up there and play two different characters, either one or the other. So he went from like the Human Torch, now he's Captain America. You got what's the name, started off as the Green Lantern. Now he's Deadpool, and then
I like him as Deadpool.
Yeah, it fits because like he's a sarcastic jackass. Like it works with like his actual character. Like everything about that dude is like sarcastic, like hilarious stuff. Like who was it? Not Ryan Reynolds. Chris Evans. He's actually funny. Like in the movie, because I ended up just watching it. I think about a day or so ago. It was called like I think like All Knives Out.
Oh yeah, I heard. I meant to watch. I'm gonna watch that because it looks interesting.
Yeah, like Chris Evans is funny. Like the dude, he's pretty funny. Like I wish they would give him in a sense like more. I'm not sure who wrote it, but his normal facial expressions like we used to with Johnny the Human Torch and whatnot.
Yeah,
they need to give him like some more like comedic, like type of thing.
You know what's so crazy, because he actually started out when he started acting. You ever seen this movie called Not Another Teen Movie?
Oh yeah.
He was in that. That was like one of his first movies back in the early 2000s. He actually got started doing movies on the comedy side. I think one of his first dramatic type roles was this movie called Cellular. You remember that movie called Cellular? Where this woman was kidnapped and she basically only could call this guy on a cell phone to try to help him find her daughter or find her or something like that. It was like one of his next movies he did. And that was like one of his first dramatic roles. But then he did that movie, Not Another Teen Movie. That's where we saw more of a comedic side of him. So I could understand it. And when I was looking at the previews for that movie, Knives Out, I was looking at his facial expressions and seeing the stuff that he was saying. I said, oh yeah, he's gonna be the asshole. I can definitely see it. He's gonna be the sarcastic one.
Yeah. Oh man, it's gonna be. I ain't gonna spoil it for you. It's like the dude. He's funny. He
Yeah,
is funny. Oh, and then who was the which one of the brothers that you listed? Was it Chris or Liam?
Chris Hemsworth,
Yeah,
Thor.
the movie I got to see with him that he did that people were saying is pretty good. I think it was like what was it? Exit or what is it called? Evacuation. I can't think of the name of the movie.
Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix.
I know Extraction.
Thank you. Yeah, and they were saying like, yo, that was a good movie. Like some of the scenes in it, I'm like, yo, Thor out here doing work. Okay, I see. I'm like, I gotta watch this. I'm like, yo, doing some stuff out here. And then what's her face? She finally got her own film, even though they should have did that a while ago. Yeah, they should have did that a while ago.
Listen, hers should have definitely came before Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
By far. I'm like, she been with the Avengers since we got introduced to her in Iron Man 2.
Yep.
And then she was in the Avengers, and it's like, okay, when is she going to get her own movie? Because people like the Black Widow character.
Mm-hmm.
And then we like Captain Marvel. She just popped up out of nowhere.
Yep.
And she got a movie before her. And then the insult to injury, you give Black Widow a movie after, spoiler alert, even though many of y'all should have already seen it by now, Rise and Endgame. And now what it's going to do, I said what it did for some people is it turned them off because they're like, I don't know how I can receive this movie because I know she's dead.
Yeah. I'm like, why would you?
I was going to go see it regardless because I wanted to see that little backstory on her. I wanted to see what that red room was going to look like, and I wanted to see what Taskmaster was going to do.
Yeah, I mean, Taskmaster, he was looking pretty something nice, I'll say, in the trailer, because like Taskmaster, he has the ability.
All he has to do is just look at you, and he knows your moves.
Yep.
And he knows all the Avengers moves. So imagine you having to fight him, and he knows every move you're going to make before you do it, and it's like you're fighting all of your friends at one time and yourself.
Yep. And then on top of that, I think looking at comic wise, the only people that Taskmaster can't really like copy, one of two, is technically Spider-Man. He can copy like the acrobatics, but he can't do it the same because he doesn't have the spider sense. And that's the one thing that puts like Peter above like a lot of like suits, in the sense things that's going to happen before, like a split second or so before it actually happens. And then of course you got Deadpool. He's just crazy. It's like even if you mind control Deadpool, he's like, I'm still not going to do it. He'll probably like shoot himself, regenerate, and then start killing everybody.
Deadpool is a savage.
Yeah.
Even in his movie, he doesn't really go all the way there how he is in the comics, how he could go. They only give you just a little bit to bring people in. Oh, and speaking of that, I will never forget when the first Deadpool movie came out and how you had all these parents get so upset with the company, with I think it was 20th Century Fox at the time, with them making that movie and saying, why didn't y'all tell us that this movie had all this expletive nature in it and all these sexual stuff and all this cursing? I'm like, did your kids not tell you what that was about? Or you really thought that was a kid movie? First off, you should have known it was going to be something with it because the movie said it was rated R.
Exactly.
It didn't say PG-13. It didn't say PG. It didn't say G. It said rated R. So you should have did your due diligence and know not to take your child to see it and know that Deadpool is not like for kid audiences.
Yep. 100%. But it's like, I don't feel sorry for none of those parents because it's like at the end of the day, y'all be taking your kids, because I've been there. A lot of these parents take their kids to like horror films. And I'm like, why are you taking a 3-year-old to see like Freddy or Jason or Paranormal? I'm like, what are you doing?
I will say the last horror movie that I saw that was actually good was A Quiet Place.
Let me see. A Quiet Place. Which it sounds familiar, Wait, was that the one where the family had to like basically like be quiet because you had like the monsters and whatnot around them?
Yeah, yeah, that movie.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good one.
And I'm like, literally, I'm literally sitting in the theater, and we are literally quiet the whole time. Like we didn't make a sound. It's almost like we was in the movie. Like so, when the stuff was happening, you could hear a mouse piss on cotton. It was in there. We barely, and I think what helped that movie be successful is they did not promote what the monsters looked like on the previews. So we didn't know what was coming after them or why they had to be quiet until you actually saw the movie and saw what they looked like. And those were some hideous looking monsters too. But their hearing was like impeccable. Like they could hear a pin drop from down the street.
Right. Because as soon as you said that, it slightly reminded me of the one movie. I'm trying to remember what it was. Technically, I hated the movie. I realistically don't even want to list it because of how bad it was. But as soon as you said that, it made me think about The Village. I'm not sure if you remember that movie.
I've heard of The Village, but I did not watch it.
Yeah, please don't.
Listen, M. Night shit on everything is what I call it. He turned me completely off.
Uh-oh.
He ruined one of my favorite cartoons.
Uh-oh.
The Last Airbender.
Yep.
That movie has to be one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my life. And probably one of the worst movies ever made. Like, how did you ruin that? And here's the thing. I never had heard of The Last Airbender. I had saw the preview before. I said, oh, this looks interesting, but I don't know anything about it. And then I found out they made a cartoon for it, and it came on Nickelodeon.
Mm-hmm.
So they did like a marathon for the show. And I watched that show from beginning to end, all 3 seasons. And I said, oh my God, this show is so good. Hopefully the movie is just like the show. Because technically the movie could have been done in 3 parts and did it just like the show. They went to every world. I looked at that and I was like, everything about this is just horrifically wrong. I can't think of one good thing to say about it. I don't know anybody who says that this movie is good. That movie was trash.
See, I don't even have to say anything. You said it. You said everything for me. It's like certain movies I try not to bring up. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, we can keep this train going. I'll help you out. We got the SNK movie.
The what?
Terrible. The SNK. If you ever played like Street Fighter, Capcom versus like SNK or like Neo Geo games where it's like Terry Bogard, Andy Bogard, Joe Higashi, like different things like that. You had that. It was another Street Fighter film I think that had came out. No. Story of Chun-Li. Yes. That was ass.
Oh, yeah. That was bad.
The Tekken one was ass. Dead or Alive. Yep.
I didn't know they had a Tekken movie.
Whew. It's good that you don't know about that.
They did have. I remember the Dead or Alive movie. But see, the thing is, the Dead or Alive movie, that was nothing but like that was like nothing but soft porn. Like that was just to bring guys in. Because they didn't have all the characters in there. They really only utilized all the female characters. They really didn't utilize the male characters at all.
Right.
Like you would thought that Dead or Alive was just only the female characters, that no male characters existed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's it. 100%. And then what was some other bad movies? Then we had the original Daredevil. We had Elektra.
What?
The original Fantastic Four, and then the later I'm talking about the Fantastic Four that.
Oh wait, Michael B. Jordan. No,
not that one. I'm talking about the one before that they did in the 90s. In order to keep the rights to the movie.
I didn't see that one.
Terrible.
But the one that had Michael B. Jordan in it, that was absolute trash. I said, listen, y'all need to just go back to the drawing board, and it's such a shame because the Fantastic Four was the comic that really kicked off Marvel.
Yeah, that's the first family.
And it's like, how can y'all mess that up? Like, they should be setting the tone. That's why they're hoping that now that Disney has acquired Sonic 20th Century Fox, which made Fantastic Four, that they can actually make this better. Because this is such a shame, because the Fantastic Four actually had some good storylines to it. Like, they gave you one of the best villains ever in Doctor Doom.
Yep.
They gave you the Silver Surfer. That's two major points right there. As a matter of fact, the Fantastic Four is who introduced Black Panther.
Yep.
He came from them. That's how we got introduced to him. But it's like the movies are just but that one with Michael B. Jordan, that's like, how they gonna explain that? And I said, I bet you they're gonna say that he was adopted. Or not that he was adopted, but either one was adopted. She was adopted.
Yeah.
She was adopted.
Yep. Because I remember that part, and then it was like it was like, I think Dr. Doom was like an internet hacker or like some crap like that, and then they ended up getting their powers at the very, very last part. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah,
what
are
you guys doing?
They didn't wait until the end to really have that big fight with Dr. Doom at the very end of the movie, and I was like, okay, this movie is just like trash. Get it away from me.
Yeah. And then it was something else that I wanted to
remember. Catwoman.
Oh, you talking about the one Halle Berry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that was good about that movie was looking at her in that suit, in that cat suit. That was about it.
Yeah.
But other than that, the movie was not good. In my opinion, Michelle Pfeiffer will always be the best Catwoman.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget also, because I like growing up, I also grew up watching like the old Adam West show. You also had Eartha Kitt too.
Oh yeah, I remember. Well, I will say this: Eartha Kitt, she did that cat purr like nobody else.
Yep.
She did it like nobody else could do it, and she was doing that all the way up until the day she died.
Yep.
I will give it. I remember I was seeing a clip. I said, this just shows you how cheesy it was back then. But back then, that's how they had to do it. She actually had a Catmobile that was purple and had the cat eyes on the front of it. I was like, oh my God.
Then the Joker had, I think everybody had a like a car. Because I think or did they really have a truck? I forgot. The Joker had a few different things. Including like the Joker fish and whatnot. Like it was like some, some crazy type stuff back then. But it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Because what was that? It was something else too. What was let me see, Daredevil, Elektra, Fantastic Four. I could have sworn we had some other superhero films that failed.
Green Lantern.
Oh, yeah, I just forgot about that one. Yeah, shit.
I think why that failed is because people was expecting to see Jon Stewart. People wasn't really too familiar with Hal Jordan, even though Hal Jordan came before Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart was more popular amongst the fans. And it was like, Hal Jordan. They was like, where's Jon Stewart? If they did it with Jon Stewart, it probably would have been better.
Yeah.
But people wasn't like, okay, no one was really feeling Hal Jordan. I didn't even go see that. I watched it when it came on TV, and I was like, I'm glad I didn't pay to go see this.
It's like, I think I watched it once, and like my memory just like, just dumped it somewhere, and I just like forgot about that one. It's like I try my hardest not to give like DC a hard time, because I swear I really feel like it is something else going against DC, and how they try to have like, they might have a great story or something, but it's like always something happens. Something always happens with the director. It's always like a falling out. Somebody's always leaving. This actor doesn't want to do this. Like, it's magically always something. But then when it comes to Marvel, it's like everything is perfect. And I'm like, how?
I guess it's that Disney pixie dust. I don't know what it could be. But I will say this. DC got it right with two movies. And that was Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, Aquaman was their first billion-dollar movie. Now, that's saying a lot, because Aquaman is a side character as far as like the Justice League goes. When you think of the Justice League, you think of Batman, Superman.
Yeah.
You mean it's crazy because Batman, he doesn't have his own movie yet. And Superman, Man of Steel, it did whatever it could do. But their two biggest movies was Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
Aquaman was really good, and Aquaman had to do well because People was wondering how they gonna make those underwater sequences look, but they did it. Like it looked good. Now here's what I would want for Aquaman 2: get rid of Amber Heard. Because I swear, if that chick is in that movie, I'm not going to see it,
dude. Yo, that's like that whole, like I said, that whole like that's what I tell like a lot of like black women, like the whole thing about the feminine movement. It's not about you. Like you were used as like a ladder for white women to basically get to where they wanted to get. You see where it is. Black women started the Me Too movement, and then it got co-opted and taken over by white women, and this is where it is. Amber Heard is one of those people. She literally was giving the talks to like women and saying all of this about abuse and different things like that, but she was the one abusing. First of all, she abused the woman that she was with previously, and then she was up here abusing Johnny Depp, and then on top of that, using her voice as a white woman to sit up there and start playing those violins and like their tear jerking bullshit. And then she basically took everything from Johnny Depp. Like this dude, he was out of Pirates of the Caribbean, and everything was basically done for him. He wasn't making no money nowhere. Nobody wanted to work with him. He was blackballed. And it's like
all behind the statements of believe all women.
Yup, because she told no lies.
When it was breaking down that conversation that they were having, I said, this woman is toxic as they come. I said, that's toxic femininity. You know, the one thing they say is, or they claim is not real.
Yeah. Yep. But like, yo, this is the way people people who actually think by logic. It's like, yo, if there's a such thing as quote unquote toxic masculinity, there has to be an opposite. So there has to be toxic femininity. But like I said, people don't want to take responsibility for a lot of the things they put out there. They just want to shift the blame and just like leave it as a clear platform for them. Like that's bullshit. That's not how the world works.
Yeah, it has to be some kind of a balance there. It can't be just one-sided. I said toxic femininity is a real thing. They asked me, how do I know? Because I claim it to be so. Mm-hmm. We've seen so many instances where it could definitely fit into its own category.
Mm-hmm. Yep. One of which I'll sit up and just put it like that. What was it? Charlize Theron got both of her African sons dressing as girls.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's child abuse. I'm sorry. I don't know.
And it's crazy because at one time I always held her up as a very good actress. I like some of the movies that she's done, but I cannot look at her the same way anymore. That woman right there is a part of the coven. The one that Oprah runs. She's a part of that coven. Her, Gabrielle Union, and a few others.
Woo!
I call her the high priestess witch for a reason.
Oh, don't forget about Madonna. You seen a video of Madonna's son?
Yes, I saw that on Twitter. I'm
dancing in racism.
And then she had who was that she posted that video of who was dancing to Michael Jackson?
That was her son. Yeah, that's her adopted son.
But
in racism
of that is Michael Jackson didn't like Madonna. He made that a public statement. He said he did not like her. At one point, he was good friends with her, but she tried to do something. I did a video about it. She tried to have him do something or tried to change his image, and he said from that point on, he cut her off and said he hasn't liked her since. So the irony that she has her adopted black son dancing to Michael Jackson songs, and he did not like her. The irony of it all.
Yep. It's like it's a whole bunch, and it's like the funny thing is, I like Charlize Theron. Like the one, this is the one unofficial superhero movie that we had that I loved also because of the soundtrack. The one clip from like Nas, which was Hero, and that was oh my god, now the movie. It was you might know what I'm talking about. The movie with Will Smith.
Hancock.
Yes, dude. He was basically the Black Superman. And I'm like, I loved it. I'm like, it was dope. Like he just did not give a care. He was like, yo, I'll just do it like whenever I wanted to sit up there and do it. White people really couldn't sit up there and do nothing with him. Cops couldn't sit up there and shoot him up. Like he just had respect all across the board. Even if he had somebody's respect, he was like, I just don't care. It's like, it's whatever. The only thing that basically came down to it was his main weakness was of course a white woman. I'm like,
Man,
how in the world?
like he could not use his powers near like when she was around.
Yep, but yet she would get stronger. I'm like, how does that work?
Yeah, like I still remember this scene to the day when he was like confronting her. I think they were in the house and he had got close to her, and all of a sudden she grabbed his arm and threw him out of the house, and he went flying across the street.
Yep.
I still remember that scene vividly.
And then whenever they got close, it was like she would automatically gain power from that, because that's when you start seeing like all of the storms and things happening. He was looking around like, what is this? And I'm like, that's BS. I'm like, that is the only thing that's basically telling me is that if at any point in time that a black man is in a relationship with a white woman, that she basically drains him for all of his energy and she gets stronger. That's all I'm getting from that.
Good catch.
Like that's crazy. Like, I would have loved to see the dynamic of what it would have been if it would have been like a black woman there. I think that would have been, pretty dope. And that would have had like a whole, different type of like realistically, I want somebody to redo that story.
I thought they would probably make another Hancock movie. I'm surprised that they didn't make one, because it pretty much ended with him leaving the planet. Yeah.
I think. Wait, was he? I remember he made some stuff on the. No. He went to a different city. I think she was in Los Angeles, and I think he was like probably in New York because they had to stay apart.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. You're right. He didn't leave the planet. He left that side. Like they couldn't be close to each other because, of course, like you said, he got weaker around her and she got stronger.
Yeah. I'm like, man, this is some straight BS. And then it was funny, like seeing him like locked up, and then people still trying to talk tough. I'm like, this is Hancock. Like, you don't have kryptonite. Like, you want to be Lex Luthor right now, and you standing up to Superman with nothing to help you out. And then he just made them form a human centipede. I'm like, well,
right.
Got to deal with that one. So we had that successful black films, one of which that needs to be redone. Even though I love Michael Jai White, I want them to do another Spawn. Like, this is the time after Black Panther basically happened. This is the time you just start pushing black films. Just start doing it. Bring out like as you mentioned before, bring out Static Shock. You might as well throw Black Lightning in there. Bring us John Stewart. I might even want a War Machine out here. Bring back Spawn, and we already got Blade coming. Like, just and then also throwing Spawn.
Well, they're actually already supposed to be working on Spawn with Jamie Foxx.
I thought he was okay, so he's doing Spawn. See, I got caught up. I'm not sure if you heard about it. Jamie Foxx is doing he's playing Mike Tyson.
Oh, I can see that. Now looking at the face, I can kind of see that.
Yeah, he's playing like Mike Tyson in like a documentary that's supposed to be. I'm not sure when it's coming up, but I can't wait to sit up to see that. I think that's gonna be dope.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the new Spawn, and it's supposed to be working on. The person who's working on it is the person who created the Spawn comic.
Oh, Seth MacFarlane. Dope.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm with it.
But they coming out with this show on Disney Plus called WandaVision, and the character Monica Rambeau is supposed to be in it.
Yeah, see, that's going to be dope. So you're automatically going to have Spectre in there. She's going to be full-fledged. She's going to hopefully have her powers. Yo, let me tell you. Now, something that I do when I'm away from like watching like either like other like YouTube like channels or whatnot, I look up like comic like videos and whatnot, and there's a lot of black dudes out here doing stuff on comics.
Yeah,
one of the hidden gems out there, we actually have another black Superman in Marvel, which is Blue Marvel.
Yeah, I was getting ready to mention him. Created by Kevin Grevioux.
Mm-hmm. He is that dude is dope, and he's strong. Like, oh my!
And he was married to Monica Rambeau.
Dope. Now, this is the thing. Now, some people, and of course, comic book land, it being the white ones, they'll say like, well, Blue Marvel. No, it wasn't Blue Marvel. No, Blue Marvel is black. I was thinking, it's him, and then it's another dude named Icon.
I think Icon is DC.
Okay, Icon. Okay, yeah. So some people will sit up there and say that Icon really isn't black due to the fact that he pulled like a John and well, you know, Martian Manhunter. He pulled basically him and turned himself into a black man. So like, well, realistically, he's not black. It counts as him being black because out of all the people he chose, he decided to live his life first of all as a slave, grow up during that whole time period, grow up through like Jim Crow, deal with all of the racism and hatred. Basically, he is black.
Yeah.
Like regardless of whatever they want to sit up and say, he didn't live his life no other way. He doesn't know any other way to walk it but as you know, a black man. And then it was also said that Icon, even Superman, well, how they have it written, Superman said that Icon hits hard. So that's something right there. So that's another black superhero there. But yeah, Blue Marvel, that dude has knocked out the Hulk. He knocked the Hulk unconscious. So yeah, we need him out here. That's another heavy hitter.
Yeah, I was listening to like one of those like comic book channels when they were talking about like the backstory of Blue Marvel, and he has a very interesting backstory, like because he was around during like Jim Crow and everything like that, and how when he was a superhero, he wore a mask to hide his identity because you know if they found out he was black, they would have no more use for him, and that actually did happen based on what I was listening to when he got revealed. They decided not to work with him anymore because he was black. I'm like, well, that just shows you the so-called high IQ was even showing in the comic books. Because I'm like, here you have this superhero and he's helping you out. You take him away, you're left defenseless.
Yep. Oh, and then on top of that, this is the one story that I really wish that they would like touch on this in an actual live film, but they probably won't because they'll be scared to. Have you ever heard about the original Captain America?
You can explain it.
So the original Captain America was a black man. So this was during the time that they were doing like the test trials for the super soldier serum. So in order for them to do these test trials, they wouldn't test them out automatically on white men because, of course, that's their pride, that's their joy. They don't want anything to go wrong. So they used black men to like test this out on. So with one guy they tested it out on, it worked, but they made sure to give it 2 side effects. One of which his over time his memory would start to deteriorate. And then the second one, it made him sterile. So that even if he does have this super soldier serum, we want to make sure that he can't go out here and create any more like him because we want to keep control of this one. And they gave a nod to that in, I think it was like the book or like the novel, where Captain America, like he even acknowledged it. He, took a picture with him and like in different things like that. And he was reflecting back on a lot of the old pictures. Like it was some dope stuff. It was pretty dope, but it also shows you, just like you said before about the high IQ, it shows you about how white people are when even they're trying to create something and they give it to somebody black, they'll still make sure to have some defects in there to cause issues and different things like that because of that fear.
Okay.
But that was another dope one too. So Black Man was the first Captain America, even though white people would say otherwise.
Interesting. That's something new I learned today.
I'm telling you, man, those black the comic YouTubers, black comic YouTubers, they put a lot of information. I'm like, yo, are you serious? I'm like, a lot of stuff I ain't even know. I'm like, dude, man, super informative.
All right, man, we've been on here for like almost 3.5 hours.
It's been 3 hours?
I know. When you get when the conversation started to happen, it just like gets carried away. You lose track of the time. But I just happened to look up at the clock and it said it 3 hours and 18 minutes and some change.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm about to hop off of this, but I do appreciate you coming through. Like I said, I emailed you at the last minute, and I'm glad that you was able to come through and do our first collab, first of many.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad that the people were actually able to finally see this because, like I said, this is what they've been asking for so long. Shout out to the people that stuck around. I know that the view count had went down a little bit. I can understand because we were on for a long time, but at least the view count was high in the areas that we really wanted to touch on, with this George Floyd situation.
Yeah.
But there's one thing I did want to mention now that I bring that up again. Did you hear that they actually arrested the black CNN reporter?
Yo, I had like, one of my friends had sent me that story, and I'm like, dude, how is it? Because I'm going to sit up there and probably say something about that. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. If you're there to report, how are the police arresting you for doing what it is that you do?
And he had his credential on him. Like when they was arresting him, and you could see it. His credential was sitting right there on his waist, like you could see it. And the thing is, his white co-worker, whose name I think is Josh Campbell, was like literally in the same vicinity, but they didn't go and arrest him.
Wow. That's crazy.
Johnny Thomas wrote his name in the comments. His name is Omar Jimenez.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I'm probably going to do a video about it.
Man. Yeah, I gotta watch that. But also, like, thanks for, having me on here. It's an honor. Like I said, sit up there and been watching like for some time and whatnot. It's like it's technically for me, because I feel like everybody else in the comment section, it's like it's weird to like technically be able to actually like talk to somebody you've watched for a minute.
Yeah.
It's almost like a shocking like all type thing. It's like, oh shit, like I'm actually here right now. Like so it's like, like that whole thing there. But anytime you need me, you wanna, collab, we can sit up there and do that.
Okay, no problem. But I appreciate you coming through, and shout out to everybody who tuned into the stream. 30K subscribers down. Many more to go. Shout out to everybody who donated via the super chat. I know only this, like I told my subscribers, this was the only interaction they were going to have with me today. I said when I do live streams like this, I usually only do the live stream and I don't upload any other videos because I don't want it to conflict. Right. And so we'll be back to the regular scheduled programming for uploads tomorrow and going forward. But with that being said, I'm about to get off here because I'm starving.
Oh yeah, same here.
Yeah. Make me hungry. And I need to put my laptop on charge because it's about to die on me.
Right.
But I will talk to y'all in the next one.
All right. Peace out.